Yeah. Welcome to the main event. Main event. Main event. Main event. Let's get ready to rumble. Nothing can make me crumble. Take a step into the jungle. It's war where the lions roar. The moment you've been waiting for. It's time to leave the locker room. I'm breaking through the door. Power. Cameras flashing. See me pass. Overlap a different category. I stand alone on my platform in all my glory. Until the next challenger wanna provoke me. Yeah, I know they all want my trophy. Welcome to the main event. Let the lights go down, and when the smoke clears, I'ma show you how. I can tell we gonna meet again. You leaving with a frown, me I'm leaving with the crown. How you like me now? Welcome to the main event.
We're heading to Kingston, Ontario, inside Richardson Stadium for the 58th edition of the Vanier Cup. Montreal Carabins versus the UBC Thunderbirds, a rematch of the 2015 final that saw the team from the West celebrate on the field. Will they do so again? They're led by their quarterback, Garrett Rooker, who has an incredible comeback story. Might it be capped off with a championship title? Hello, everyone, and welcome inside our CBC Sports studios and our coverage of the Vanier Cup. Annie Petrillo alongside some all-stars, former quarterback with the University of Guelph Griffins, that would be Justin Dunk, and former running back with the University of Western Mustangs. We won't get into that. Well, maybe we will just a little bit. That would be Donovan Bennett. So today we have Montreal making just its fourth appearance in the Vanier Cup. The only time they won was in 2014. For UBC, they last won in 2015. They defeated Montreal. That was a tight score, 26-23. They're making their seventh appearance in the final. So how did they get here? Well, after going 6-2 in the regular season, UBC needed a thriller in the Hardy Trophy against the Alberta Golden Bears. No time on the clock, and they got a touchdown to secure the 28-27 win. Then they beat the St. FX X-Men in the Mitchell Bowl. In the Dunsmore Cup, Montreal took care of business against the most successful football program, Laval. And in the UTech Bowl, sorry, Donovan, we just have to mention here, they absolutely dismantled the top-ranked Western Mustangs, 29-3. Okay, I'm just going to put that away. We're not going to talk about that again. But let's begin with the Thunderbirds and their offensive line. Justin, would you say this is the best offense that Montreal has faced all season long?
Yes, I believe it is, and that's because of two pillars along this offensive line. That would be number 72, Theo Benedette, and number 76, Gio Manu. Manu was referred to as Baby Shaq in high school, dropping 30 and 10 on the basketball court, but he's doing his thing now on the football field. And these guys are so good that around half the NFL has sent scouts to UBC to see these teams play in person, and specifically these two players. These guys are that good, and that is ultra rare. That does not happen for Canadian university football players. They're so good. Two key pillars of this offense.
They're so good. We're leading a national broadcast talking about offensive line play, which is a running back I love. And I love the fact they have running back traits. Great feet, no false steps, feet through trash, get to the second level, and when they get there, they triage. They don't block the first color they see. They block the person that might be able to spring it for a big play. That's why they're so explosive in the running game.
Yeah, the sexy story always is the quarterback. So why don't we talk about that just a moment? I'm not going to be cliche and go to the former quarterback. Donovan, I'll start with you. In Texas-born Garrett Rooker, this guy is an incredible story because he was Canada West Rookie of the Year 2021, but in October of 2022, it was a hip injury that a lot of people thought could have just derailed his career, needed surgery, but here he is in a championship game. What does he bring?
Well, one, inspiration, right? Because all of the players see the sacrifice that it took. It's a blessing he's not walking with a limp, never mind playing some of his best football. And what I love about him is he's a bit of a basketball player. Different arm angles, different finishes around the basket. In pressure, not worried, throws over the top for those big explosive plays.
That's how we got to UBC. It was actually the basketball coach that told Blake Bill about this quarterback from Texas. Now he ends up with the Thunderbirds. What stands out to me is that he was in an inclined wheelchair for 2 months, and that was a position he couldn't leave back healthy, leading UBC.
Yeah, a lot of people want to talk about him, but he's been taking the last few days to really sing the praises of Dr. David Stockton from Vancouver General Hospital, the surgeon who did his surgery. Let's take a look at their head coach now. Hannah, Alberta native Blake Nill, a coaching career that spanned 3 decades. He started with the St. FX X-Men as the defensive coordinator, then became head coach at St. Mary's, where he won Coach of the Year in 1999 and 2 Vanier Cups. Went to University of Calgary, then in UBC, joined 2015. Here he is with Cigna.
Coach Neil, you've waited 8 years to get back to the Vanier stage. I got to ask, does it feel a little bit like a kid on Christmas morning?
It's definitely emotional. You know, it's year 31 for me. This is the 10th time here. It took a while to get back. I certainly appreciate where we are. I just want to make the most of it today.
Now, we're a defensive lineman. You coach a highly touted offensive line, and you're playing against a tough defensive line today. What kind of battle are you expecting on the line?
This program, like my others, is built to win games in November on the offensive line with the run game. It's going to pit our strength against their strength, and Montreal is certainly a formidable defense. We expect that coming out of Quebec. We expect that at this time of the year, so it's not a surprise. We're prepared for the challenges we have, and you know, we're going to put our best athletes, the strength of this program, against their strength.
Best of luck today. Enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
Fun fact, Hannah, Alberta, also the hometown of the rock band Nickelback. Now you know. For more on today's national championship game, let's send it on over to the two gentlemen who will have the call. Mark Lee alongside Deshaun Stevens.
Thanks, Andy. Well, the Carabins from Montreal have had more than their fair share of heartbreak over the last few years. It seems, Deshaun, every time this team gets close to a tight game, they taste defeat.
Yeah, it's been an emotional 3-year roller coaster for the Montreal Carabins. Let's start in 2021. They go 7-1 in the RSCQ. They win the Dunsmore Cup, and they get to the UTEC Bowl, where they lose to the Saskatchewan Huskies on a last-second touchdown. Fast forward to 2022. They go 6-2. They're hampered by injuries. They get to the Dunsmore Cup, and they lose to the Laval Rouge Or, but on a last-second rouge.
Look at this lineup in 2023, full of big stars, and they've crushed the previous two Vanier Cup champions in Laval and Western to get to this game. Is it fair to say that Marco Iadeluca and his team, through all that heartbreak, is now galvanized?
Well, Mark, this is the first time in program history that the Carabins have swept the Laval Rouge Or in conference play. They have 13 RSCQ All-Stars, which is a program record. They have the President's Trophy winner in Harold Miasen, and of course, they have the Heck Crichton Award winner in Jonathan Senecal. This might be the greatest Montreal Carabins team that we've ever seen.
Let's talk about Senecal. Is there any question that he's the key to their fortunes here today?
Well, he's one of the best dual-threat quarterbacks in the country. Not only was he an elite passer, but he also led the Carabins in rushing. There's no question, throwing for over 2,015 passing yards and 15 touchdowns. He's going to be the key to this offense today if they want to get past that UBC defense.
Carabins have all the stars. They've got the planets all lined up. It may be now or never for them in the Vanier Cup. Andy?
Montreal, extremely stingy defense. They have not allowed their opponent to score more than 16 points in a game all year long. It's time to bring you now the national anthem of Canada, which will be sung by the a cappella group from the host university, All the Queen's Men.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. Qu'à droit s'est porté l'épée, il s'est porté la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée, tes plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for
Montreal versus the Thunderbirds. The 58th edition of the Vanier Cup is next on CBC Sports. Welcome back to CBC Sports. We're minutes away from the start of the Vanier Cup. Vying for the U Sports National Football title are the Montreal Carabins and UBC Thunderbirds. Let's go to the sideline now with Signa Butler.
We couldn't have asked for better November weather for football here at the Vanier Cup. 3 degrees, -1 it feels like at field level, with some crosswind here from west to east, 20 to 30 k an hour, although kicking today may hook on the last minute, so watch for that. As for the atmosphere, I mean, you can hear it behind me. The Montreal Carabins just down the road, a quick drive. They brought 5 buses of fans here, both strong alumni groups. Don't expect UBC to be quiet today, but looking forward to a great matchup between these two teams today.
All right, great stuff, Signa. Gentlemen, I'm not going to put you on the spot with predictions, but I still want to get your opinion on what do you think it's going to take for each team to pull off the victory. Justin, I'll start with you. What does UBC need to do?
There's 3 things I think that are very key. UBC has to win the turnover battle. Montreal has turned the ball over more times than they've allowed points in the last number of games. Garrett Rooker, the quarterback, has to get into a consistent rhythm, and I think they need to be physical. They need to match that level that Montreal brings down in and down out.
Montreal's key to success.
Well, it's funny because it's all about takeaways. They never lost the turnover battle this year, plus 25 in the regular season, plus 9 in the postseason. And they just got to believe. I'm an Instagram journalist. They're playing Scary Hours. That's Drake in the locker room.
Okay.
So I think they got to bring that scary defense and that scary physical attack throughout the game.
Whatever it takes to get you motivated for this one. We hope you're motivated at home. We're motivated here in studio for the 58th edition of the Vanier Cup. And here we go, Canada. The Carabins, they were last crowned national champions in 2014. They made the final again in 2015, but we've been saying it, UBC spoiled the double. Will history repeat itself, or have the university gods written a different script? Let's send it on over to Kingston, Ontario. Mark Lee, Deshaun Stevens with the call.
UBC's won the toss. UBC will defer.
Andy, UBC returns to the national stage for the first time in 8 years. They've won the coin toss and will defer to the second half. It's the first time back to the Vanier Cup for the Thunderbirds since they won the Vanier Cup in 2015, ironically against the same team they'll face here today, the Montreal Carabins. Montreal is back to the national championship game for the 4th time in the past 10 years. A crushing defeat to UBC in 2015 on the last play field goal, and again in 2019 to Calgary. Can they overcome the Can West opponent for the 3rd consecutive time in the Vanier Cup? Gorgeous day for football here in the Limestone City at Richardson Stadium in Kingston. Sunshine, temperatures just hovering above the freezing mark. And there's the referee here today, Brent Young. His father, Bernie, officiated the 1995 Vanier Cup. So this is the first time that a father and son team have been the head referee of a Vanier Cup. Brent Young with a staff of mixed officials from all 4 conferences in U Sports here today. The Carabins, through all the heartbreak, have mustered a team this year that has been a juggernaut. 3-0 against Laval in the RSAQ, crushing them and Western, the previous 2 Vanier Cup champions, en route to this game. UBC fighting tooth and nail to get out of the Can West Conference with that last-second touchdown pass from this man, Rooker, to Sam Davenport to upend Alberta in the Hardy Cup.
And Mark, I think there's no doubt we're about to see a national championship game where we truly do have the 2 best teams in the nation.
So UBC will kick it off. Magundy back to return for the Carabins, as Kieran Flannery Fleck tees the football up here at Richardson Stadium in Kingston. A vocal Montreal crowd here today. Brent Young signals kickoff to the 2023 Canada Life Vanier Cup. Muganda from his own 17 on the bounce, straight up the middle. And he'll return the ball to the 34-yard line for first down. And Jonathan Senecal will have the ball in his hands to start this football game. The Heck Crichton Trophy winner as the country's most outstanding player and the conference leader in passing and the rushing leader this season for the Carabins.
Yeah, Mark, and we're going to see Jonathan Senecal with this unique offense featuring Carl Chabot, who we might have to add was on that 2019 Montreal Carabins team that lost in the Vanier Cup to the Calgary Dinos. So Carl Chabot back here, final game of his career to try and capture a Vanier Cup for the first time in his career.
Chabot wearing number 13. He'll get the flip pass underneath that fooled everybody, including the cameraman. And he'll have a gain of 8 yards before he's wrapped up by Jackson Cirillo-Brown. And that vaunted UBC linebacking core. Chabot, as you mentioned, played in that Vanier Cup. He's the Carabin gadget. I mean, everything goes through him. Handoffs, passes. He even lines up in the Wildcat as quarterback.
Yeah, he's not, of course, he's not the RCQ MVP, but many will say that Carl Chabot is just as important to this offense as Jonathan Senecal.
2nd and 2 for Montreal. Halafu takes the handoff, off tackle. He'll have a gain of 7 and a first down. Glody Halafu from Kinshasa, Congo, one of 4 Africans in this Carabin lineup. They come from Africa via France, where they learn football for the first time, then get into the CJEP system where they polish them.
Yeah, and the CJEP system is a good funnel pipeline for these Quebec teams, specifically Montreal and Laval. A lot of their older athletes come from the CJEP system, and that's how they're able to build these championship teams that are so large and so older in age and mature.
Senecal to throw for the first time, and it's intercepted. Jason Soriano picks off the Heck Crichton Trophy winner with his first throw of the game.
That is the type of start that you would want if you are UBC. Get a look at this. Senecal looking at Dudley Jones. Looks down, Dudley Jones passes it, and it looks like it's underthrown, and it falls right into the hands of Jason Soriano, the receiver who transitioned over to DB in week 5, and now the UBC Thunderbirds have the ball to start this first half.
Soriano, who plays both ways, moved to defense in week 5. He's a receiver as well. Here's Rooker handing off to Isaiah Knight on first down for UBC. It'll be a hard-fought gain of 3 on the play. Isaiah Knight, the number 2 leading running back in the Can West this year. Rooker, the American quarterback out of League City, Texas, who turned down Division I offers to come to Canada for the education and the football.
Yeah, and Gail Rooker has blossomed so beautifully from a Texas kid into a Canada West All-Star. He's learned the Canadian game, and now he's on the grandest stage playing for a national championship with this UBC offense.
2nd and long for the Thunderbirds. 2nd and about 7. There's a flag on the play as Rooker steps up, and play is whistled dead. It'll be an offside call against the Thunderbirds, and that'll push them back another 5.
It is loud. It is loud. A lot of Montreal fans have made the 3-hour drive to Richardson Stadium, and a lot of coaches have spoken to us about how hard it is to play in Montreal because the fans are so loud. And now you're seeing it here. The UBC Thunderbirds are also having trouble communicating on offense because of how loud it is.
So 2nd and 12, UBC. And they've somehow managed to get those horns in this stadium. I thought they were banned in Ontario.
Sounds like they made an exception for those Carabin fans.
2nd and 12. Montreal rushing 3. Rooker down the field for Davenport. A jump ball and incomplete. Hit on the play by the President's Trophy winner this year, Harold Miasan. But Davenport, who had that thrilling catch to win the Hardy Cup, is broken up.
As you can see, Montreal right here has a 40 front, and they drop their linebackers back into coverage. And yeah, Miasan is all over Sam Davenport. What a hit to the midsection on Sam Davenport from Harold Miasan.
Flannery Fleck will punt for the first time here today, and Davenport down on the sideline. That could be a problem. Here's Carl Chabot to return. He gets outside, breaks a tackle. Chabot, 5'7", 175. He's a little fire hydrant, and he scoots out of bounds.
Carl Chabot, one of the most talented football players in the nation, like you said, Mark. Again, he can run the ball, catch the ball. He can line up under center, take the snap. He can return the ball. He can do it all. and he's going to need to do a lot today for this Montreal offense if they want to drive down this field on this dominant UBC defense.
15 on the return by Shabbat. He does everything in the Senecal coming back on offense after throwing that interception. He'll throw again. It's off the mark and incomplete. Intended for Simon Riopel from Gatineau.
So early on, what I can see here is that the UBC Thunderbirds are lined up in a 30 front. They're rushing 3 defensive linemen. As you can see on defense, led by Ryan Baker. Again, Canada West All-Star, who's a quarterback who almost started for UBC in 2019, transitioned to linebacker, and now he's on that talented linebacker core alongside Canada West All-Star Jack Cirillo Brown, Mitchell Townsend, as well as Maka Bangura. This is a really solid defense.
That's crazy. How many quarterbacks go from quarterback to linebacker, and he's one of their best playmakers. 2nd and 10. Senecal waiting. He'll throw downfield. It's complete for a first down. William Legault going up for the football. So Senecal, the passing leader in the RSEQ, has his first completion, a 20-yard gain.
And Jonathan Senecal was able to extend that play with his feet. He's an elite passer, but he's able to use his feet to extend the play. Will Legault runs the crosser route. And UBC, they're in coverage, but Will Legault beats Ryan Baker, finds the opening, and Senecal finds him for that first down.
Senecal's ability to run really puts the challenge for the secondary when he threatens that line of scrimmage. 20-yard gain and a first down into UBC territory. Senecal again to throw, throwing deep downfield for Dudley Jones, and off his hand and incomplete.
Senecal giving a look to Dudley Jones, who has replaced Hassan Dosso, who was their #1 receiver during the season. But that ex-receiver spot is still important, and so Dudley Jones, he's one-on-one with Caden Cook. He gets a running start. Caden Cook gives him cushion. He runs the in route, fakes him out, takes the outside, and he has grasp, but Senecal just overthrew that ball. That would have been a touchdown if he just underthrown it a little bit more.
You mentioned Dosso. Hassan Dosso, the leading receiver in the Carabins lineup, was injured, broke his leg in an ugly compound fracture in the final regular season game against Concordia. 2nd and 10, Shabbat across the middle. It's complete, and he'll get out of bounds very close to the first down, but there is a flag on the play.
Mark, I'm starting to notice this UBC defense is rushing 3 linemen and dropping their linebackers back into coverage. They do not want to let Jonathan Senecal dissect their offense or their defense early, because if he's able to do that and gain confidence, they are in trouble.
Here's the call from referee Brent Young.
Contact illegal, illegal contact. Montreal change, number 15.
So illegal contact, the call against Montreal, make it 2nd and 20.
You see there's some contact here over the middle. Yeah.
Oh, it's a pick.
It's a pick, yeah. And that's what opened up Carl Shabbat, allowed him to gain space. He can't do that.
So Muganda caught on the pick, 2nd and 20 for the Carabins. Senecal will throw. Lots of time. Now he'll move to the wide side of the field, buying himself some more time. He's in trouble, and he'll be sacked after 6 steamboats. Mitchell Townsend, the middle linebacker in this UBC defense, puts an end to that Montreal excursion in the UBC zone.
Once again, that UBC defense is rushing 3, dropping their linebackers back into coverage to help those DBs. And you can see Jonathan Senecal, his options are being taken away from him. He's extending the plays with his legs, but there are no options open, and that allows the linebackers, Mitchell Townsend right there, to close in on Senecal and put him down for the sack and force that 2 and out.
So Philippe Boyer will punt here today, has a tremendous average of 43.7. It's a high spiraling punt, and Shamar McBean back to his own 5 and falls to the turf, where he's blown dead right there. No chance of a return. So Boyer, with that big leg, drills a spiraling punt deep into UBC territory. Good-looking crowd on this sunny Saturday afternoon along the Lake Ontario lakeshore. We take a look at UBC going back on offense. This team was number 3 in the country in passing yards, number 1 in the Can West Conference, led by Garrett Rooker, who can make any throw and completed 70% of his passes this year. But this is a Carabin defense that generates turnovers, and so tough to read. And they got a vocal cheering section here today. First down at their own 5. Sam Davenport back in the game after taking that big hit by Harold Miasan. They'll stay on the ground. The handoff to Isaiah Knight, and he'll drive off tackle for a gain of 6 yards on the play. And it'll be 2nd and 4. Isaiah Knight coming off that great Mitchell Bowl where he rushed for 115 yards and a 6.8-yard average, but taking on, as I mentioned, this menacing Montreal defense.
Yeah, and led by the President's Trophy winner, Harold Miasan, who's their will linebacker. But they also have Bruno Legace at boundary half. They also have Kellen Saint-Cyr at boundary corner. I like to call them the Bermuda boundary side, the Bermuda boundary triangle as a no-fly zone. No one wants to pass there.
2nd and 4, Knight takes the handoff, and it's stuffed. Mohamed El Shal, who comes in on 2nd down situations at linebacker for Montreal, making the tackle. They'll be short.
Yeah, they're deep in their end zone. And listen, what you want to do is you want to be able to, 1, of course, hand it off to Isaiah Knight, but 2, also let your offensive line get in some action against that defensive line. You can trust this offensive line, so I'm not surprised to see them hand it off to Isaiah Knight, but El Shal gets in there, Bruno Legace gets in there, and they're able to just find Isaiah Knight and take him down.
It's one of the big storylines, the Twin Towers at tackle. Manu and Benedette, the NFL prospects on this big UBCO line. How will they handle the Montreal front? Kieran Flannery-Fleck back to punt in his end zone, and he will take a knee and concede 2 points. Trying to flip the field position game, dominated early by Montreal.
Yeah, I think.
So the Carabins back on offense when we come back. UBC head coach Blake Nill in his 10th Vanier Cup appearance, 9 as a head coach, 1 as a defensive coordinator. He's won this championship 3 times, most recently in 2015, his first season at the helm here in UBC when he beat the Montreal Carabins. And across the field, Marco Iadaluca, a 2-time RSEQ Coach of the Year, a 2-time Vanier Cup champion as an offensive coordinator in 2010 with Laval and 2014 with Montreal. And now he steps up as the head coach of the Carabins, trying to undo all the heartbreak this team has faced over the last few years in late, last-minute, last-play defeats. Montreal takes over, first down at their own 35 after the 2-point conceded play by UBC. And Halafu will take the handoff. He's small but very elusive, and he'll have a gain of 5 yards on the play. As I mentioned, he hails from Kinshasa, Congo, played his CJEP ball in Jonquière, Quebec. It's a 6-yard average this year, and Montreal really doesn't have much of a running game. They rely on Senecal. He was their leading rusher. But when these backs get the ball, they don't get it often, they make good. 2nd and 5, Carabins. Senecal in the pocket, across the middle to Dudley Jones. It's complete, and it'll be a 6-yard gain and a first down for Montreal. Dudley Jones, as you mentioned, Deshaun, playing the Hassan Dosso position for Montreal. Dosso gone with that broken leg. Dudley Jones is a deep threat, but here a possession receiver across the middle.
Yeah, Dudley Jones runs over the middle, and Jackson Sorrell-Brown was actually right there. It was just a matter of positioning, right? And Dudley Jones able to find an opening. Jonathan Senecal sees it, connects with him immediately, and puts them in first down range.
1st and 10, Carabins. Senecal throws. It's caught. Muganda makes the catch. Very close to the first down. Iragi Muganda, who was injured for all of this season and came back last week in the UTEC Bowl.
Yeah, Muganda runs a short comeback route. Again, another short pass in the same area as Jackson Sorrell-Brown. It looks like they're picking on him a little bit, testing him out early, trying to see if he can really be one-on-one with those receivers.
Interesting. Sorrell-Brown, the Nike Defensive Player of the Game 1 week ago in the Mitchell Bowl.
And now you see Jonathan Senecal moving out.
It's Wildcat offense. Here's Shabbat on 2nd and less than a yard, and he'll sneak it forward. The pint-size receiver running back and Montreal will have another first down.
And this is something that Carl Chabot's been doing his entire career. You can go back to the Vanier Cup in 2019 against Calgary and see plays where Carl Chabot takes the snap under center and gets those short yardages to guarantee a first down. It just goes to show how much they trust this athlete.
Well, it was in that Vanier Cup where Montreal was struggling mightily on offense, and they started going to the youngster Chabot, and he was the man who was basically all of their offense in that second half in that loss to the Calgary Dinos.
And he was just a rookie.
Yeah, just a rookie. Now a veteran, and a lot of this offense goes through him. Senecal to Gordon, breaks a tackle. Ball's loose, it's on the field. Who's got it? Carabins say they've gotten on it, so do the Thunderbirds. As they try to settle this, it'll be second down, it looks like, Montreal.
And Brandon Gordon runs a screen pass here, and you can see Will Legault and Carl Chabot are blocking for him, and he's able to find some space up the middle. Let's see who punches that out. Looks like Jarrell Cummings. Yep. Looks like Ryan Baker poked it out. Yep, on the ground, and let's see whose ball it is.
Still no official signal. And it does look like the indication was second down. Muganda, whose brother is a big star running back with Laval. And they will survive that fumble and recover it. Gorgon from Gatineau, Quebec. Ball on the 44. Carabins. Second and 1. Senecal, hands off up the middle, and it's Redval Keita with the carry and the first down. Keita hails from Paris, France, in this international backfield on offense for Montreal.
Again, another international player looked on that last play, and it seems like UBC is now giving Montreal a 40 look and having Mitchell Townsend come off the end to apply some pressure. It seems like they're getting tired of giving Jonathan Senecal some space and time in that pocket. They're looking to give him a little bit of pressure and force him to make decisions he doesn't want to make.
Halafou back in the backfield for Montreal on first down. Senecal facing a blitz, in trouble, will scramble. Outside, he'll run. This is what he does so effectively to extend the drive. Senecal with a first down, scrambling from pressure. This what makes him so frustrating to defend.
What a run, what a run. And yeah, as you said, you can see why he's a headache for defenses. You look right here, they bring the blitz, they bring Mitchell Townsend off the edge. Senecal sees it. Jackson Cirillo-Brown again has a hand on him, gets away. Bertuzzi has an opportunity at him, gets away. Big first down, big run by Jonathan Senecal. Again, this Montreal offense is now slowly making their way down the field against this UBC defense, and they're doing it in the ways that they've been doing all season long.
Senecal led the Carabins with 394 yards on the ground. He'll hand off to Muganda, cutting inside, slashing his way, diving, touchdown! Iragi Muganda! And the first major of this Vanier Cup goes to Montreal. Cutting a swath through that UBC linebacking core.
Muganda is a receiver, but on this play, he turns into a running back, takes the handout from Jonathan Senecal, and you could see there's a hole just up the middle. He pierces the hole and goes untouched essentially into the end zone, gets through Ryan Baker, gets through Mitchell Townsend, finds the end zone. That's how you want to start if you're this Montreal offense against this UBC defense.
Philippe Poirier puts the extra point between the uprights, and it's 9-0 Montreal. A 15-yard run by Muganda.
Welcome back to the 58th Vanier Cup on CBC. Well, Jonathan Senecal started his university career at University of Connecticut, and he made the decision to come back to Montreal. Was it an easy one for him? You bet. Take a listen.
It wasn't hard at all. When I decided to come back, I really wanted to play for Marco. He wasn't the head coach yet at Montreal, but when I learned that he had the job, for me it was a no-brainer.
Mark, great decision for Senecal.
Senecal guiding the Carabins on a 7-play, 75-yard touchdown drive. He had that 20-yard scramble to set up the Muganda 15-yard touchdown run. Montreal has had the football for 9.5 of the first 12 minutes of this football game.
Yeah, and Jonathan Senecal, you're getting a closer look at why he was the Head Crichton Award winner, why he is the RSCQ MVP. What makes him so dangerous? Yes, he has an arm. Yes, he's a quarterback, but his legs are what set him apart from the rest, and he's able to extend plays. He's able to move down the field. He's able to be elusive and evade defensive ends. So we're getting a look now at what makes this young man the Head Crichton Award winner.
Shamar McBean and Cesar Redner-Brookman back to return. It's McBean with the football, and he'll be tackled at the 25-yard line. And a gain of 16 on the return. Garrett Rooker really needs to get into a rhythm here for Blake Nill in this UBC offense.
Yeah, this UBC offense is talented, but they haven't had the best fortune through this first quarter so far, having to have started a couple drives from their own end zone. They desperately need some momentum earlier on in this game, because you can see Montreal, they have momentum right now. So can UBC get something going on offense? We'll see on this drive.
Yet to establish a drive, and the noise here is deafening as these Montreal fans make it difficult for Rooker to get his signals called. He's having a tough time communicating here on first down. Rooker back to pass over the middle to Isaiah Knight, and he drops the football incomplete, and then gets some words in his ear hole from Nicky Farinaccio, the middle linebacker.
So if you look at this next play, what Montreal did that was so unique was they actually showed an all-out blitz. You'll have a look here on Sam Davenport back in the game. He's going up against Kellen Saint-Cyr, and nothing there, right? No time. But they're showing an all-out blitz, and then all those linebackers right after the snap are able to drop back into coverage.
It's so confusing for the quarterback. They'll show man, then play zone, and play a match zone. Look at this movement on the defense on 2nd and 10. Rooker throwing downfield. It's complete for a first down. Isaiah Knight makes the catch for a gain of 21 on the play.
With the combination of the noise and all the move pre-snap, you can see it's getting confusing for Garrett Rooker. You can see pre-snap, they're showing blitz. And then post-snap, they drop back into coverage. He sees Isaiah Knight go over the middle, beats Nicky Farinaccio, and just is able to haul in that pass before Harold Messiaen gets there.
Strong formation as Lucas Robertson, the All-Canadian tight end, lines up on the right side. They'll stay on the ground to Isaiah Knight, running left this time, in behind the big tackle, Giovanni Manu, but it's stuffed as Kalen Saint-Cyr makes the tackle. Saint-Cyr, the son of Irv Smith, the former Alouette and Baltimore Stallion, who is at the football game to watch here today. Playing in his final game, Kalen Saint-Cyr, the 5th-year athlete.
And you can see they know that UBC offensive line is NFL worthy. And so what they're doing is they're applying pressure early. They know they got to bring extra pressure off the edge if they want to stop that run. And getting Kalen Saint-Cyr in there from the corner spot, exactly what they're doing.
So with all this noise, Rooker has called a timeout, unable to communicate with his offensive teammates.
It is loud, extremely loud.
It's a home game almost for Montreal. We talked to Saint-Cyr the other day, and he said he had at least 30 family and friends coming, but he said they were limited to 4 ticket purchases per email address. And so he had everybody, his uncles, his mom and dad. They even used his deceased grandmother's email to get 4 tickets. And there he is in the pregame wearing his dad's jersey, the old Montreal Alouette jersey 21. Irv Smith looking proudly on here today.
Is that a signed jersey? A signed Irv Smith jersey?
Wow.
We call it the Kalen Club. That's what we called it, the Kalen Club.
It's not going anywhere except this young man's closet. There he is, Kalen Saint-Cyr, the lockdown corner, a first-team All-Canadian this year. He's one of 3 Carabins who played back in 2019 in that Vanier Cup loss to Calgary.
And the thing about Kalen Saint-Cyr that just stands out about him the most is, you see here, Garrett Rooker, Mason Nice having a conversation. Mason Nice just played in the Vanier Cup last year, and lost again to an RSCQ team in Laval. So Mason Nice knows what it's like to be on this stage, and it's good to have him on the sidelines as a mentor to Garrett Rooker, especially through a game like this.
2nd and 10, UBC from their own 48. Check it, 2nd and 7. Here comes the blitz. Rooker throws it deep downfield and incomplete. Intended for Dane Kapler, their Swiss Army knife, but it'll fall to the turf, and another abbreviated drive on offense for UBC. They have to punt.
So once again, the Carabins defense, now they actually brought the blitz this time. You can see right here, El Shao blitzes, Nicky Farinaccio blitzes.
Hang on, there's a penalty on the play. Looks like it's going against Montreal. So it's an offside call. Sorry to interrupt you there, Deshaun, but it's an offside call, making it 2nd and 2 near midfield. And so the UBC offense goes back on the field. So 2nd and 2. UBC will gamble behind this big Clydesdale offensive line. Robertson checks in at tight end on the right-hand side. They'll stay on the ground. Isaiah Knight straight up the gut. And he'll have the first down. And some pushing and shoving after the fact as these two teams heat it up.
And Montreal's defense is not backing down. Of course, listen, 2nd and 2, hand it off to Isaiah Knight. Have trust in your offensive line. Have trust in Giovanni Manu. He follows Giovanni Manu and is able to find the first down. Bruno Legace got in there, though, but Isaiah Knight is able to find the first down and keep this drive alive, which UBC desperately needs.
That's a huge 3rd down conversion for UBC to keep this offense on the field and keep Senecal off the field. This will be the final play of the first quarter. First down, Thunderbirds across midfield. Play action. Rooker, crossing route, it's short and incomplete. You could see that Rooker saw Guillaume Perrier coming in behind and had to keep the ball low to prevent a chance of an interception.
This Montreal secondary, they play a lot of zone. But what makes their zone very unique is that all zone eventually becomes man. And they have the athletes to be able to latch on to receivers quickly once they come to that zone.
So Muganda with a 15-yard slashing run for a touchdown to put the Carabins up 9-0 after 1 quarter of play. The Canada Life Vanier Cup continues on CBC. Let's take a look at the first quarter stats brought to you by Wilson, the official football of U Sports. And you can see this high-scoring UBC offense rather limited in 5.5 minutes of possession.
And Mark, as you can see, Montreal's had the ball and they haven't wasted any opportunity being able to move the ball on the ground, move the ball through the air, put points on the board, and achieve first downs. They have not wasted any opportunity early on in this game.
I should point out that UBC first down was on a 2nd and 2 because of the offside penalty to Montreal. So they got the 2nd down over 2 yards to go as opposed to a 3rd and 2. So UBC still on offense, trying to generate some flow and some rhythm. And the look on Ryan Baker's face says it all. They're facing a really tough quarterback and offense in Senecal and the Carabins. 2nd and 10. UBC, quick throw across the middle. Rednor Brookman with the catch and a first down. A 13-yard pickup for Caesar Rednor Brookman from Oakland, California. One of a handful of Americans in this lineup.
Once again, that Montreal secondary plays zone coverage. Okay, so that means they're going to give you a bit of space before you actually are able as a receiver to get into coverage. Garrett Rooker senses that, finds Caesar Redmond Brookman on the slant over the middle, and they're able to move the ball.
Rednor Brookman with that 60-yard punt return touchdown last week against St. FX in the Mitchell Bowl. Motion McBean to the near side. Play action. Garrett Rooker under pressure. He's well back. Throws the ball to the near sideline. Shamar McBean makes the catch, but this will be a loss on the play for UBC.
Montreal came with the heat on that play. They came with the heat. They went with the all-out blitz with the linebackers. And as you can see, that was too much. It was too much for the offensive line. Nicky Farinaccio gets in there off the edge. And Garrett Rooker has to roll out, try to find time. Finds McBean, but it's not much of a gain.
What a tough assignment for this UBC O-line. There was one defensive down lineman down in the middle and nobody else set. They were spread all over the place. Loss of 3 on the catch by McBean. 2nd and 13, rolling right. Rooker under pressure. Francone is there. It's caught, but short of the first down. Sam Davenport coming back to the ball. It'll be 3rd and 1, UBC.
They're trying to make Garrett Rooker uncomfortable. On that last play, what the Montreal defense did was they came with the Sam blitz off the edge. So Nicholas Waugh, number 21, blitzed off the edge. They got to Garrett Rooker, forced him to roll out of the pocket, try to extend the play, and of course got the pass off, but it wasn't enough.
So the offense will stay on the field as Rooker comes out and Derek Engel goes in, the backup quarterback. Another Texan from Grapevine, Texas, near Dallas for this 3rd and 1 gamble. UBC trying to move the ball. Engel hands off. Dane Kapler driving forward in a second effort, and they'll have the first down. Kapler, who was a running back that they had to put into the lineup as a receiver because they just needed to get him on the field. They say he's just so good, one of their top 12.
Yeah, we spoke with the UBC offensive coordinator Stevenson Bone this week, and he said, listen, Dane is so good, we got to create ways to get him on the field. It doesn't matter what position he plays, we just got to get him on the field because we believe he is one of our top 12 players on offense.
His dad is Gabe Kapler, most recently the manager of the San Francisco Giants, the former major leaguer, here today as well. Mason Nias, quarterback coach, former Heck Crichton nominee 1 year ago with Saskatchewan. As UBC is moving the sticks again. Kapler takes the handoff, bounces off tackle, and then is driven back after a gain of 4, maybe 5 yards on the play.
And you can see they're giving Dane Kapler some looks earlier on. They want to get him warmed up, get the ball in his hand, because, again, they truly believe he's one of their top 12 players. They give him ball on this handoff right here, and he's able to try and follow Giovanni Manu, follow Lucas Robertson, but you can see right there, Nicholas Waugh locks that up, shuts that down, and they bring him down to stop that from being a big gain.
12th play of the drive for UBC on 2nd and 6. Play action, Rooker throwing into traffic, nearly intercepted. It's incomplete. Incomplete. Harold Miasan thought he had it. The President's Trophy winner.
And now you see, again, Dane Kapler, now he's running routes, right? They target Sam Davenport. And this, let's see, is that a pick? It looks like it touched the ground. But this resembles the interception we saw last week Evan Hillock threw against this Montreal defense. And again, it just goes to show how deceptive that zone defense truly is.
This will be a 32-yard attempt for Kieran Flannery Fleck. Almost straight down the middle. Ball is up and good. So Flannery Fleck, who began his career right here in Kingston, couldn't make a go of it with Queens, moved to Carleton, and then on to UBC, where he's in a Vanier Cup. Welcome back to Richardson Stadium and the 2023 Canada Life Vanier Cup. Some Queens fans in attendance here today at their home field, which is just an absolutely gorgeous facility. Montreal will scrimmage first down at their own 35-yard line after Kieran Flannery Fleck's 32-yard field goal got UBC on the scoreboard here in this first half, and after a 13-play drive that kept this man off the football field. Senecal is 5 for 8 so far for 56 yards and 1 interception. He's in trouble. He'll run and slide, just avoiding the tackle from Jackson Cirillo-Brown.
And if you take a look at that UBC linebacking core, they know Jonathan Senecal can run. They felt it already. And so what they're doing is they're staying in contain, watching the quarterback, understanding what's happening in their area, but being aware that Jonathan Senecal, number 12, can take off at any time, trying to shut that down.
Senecal led all quarterbacks in rushing this year and was in fact the number 4 rusher in the RSEQ. 2nd and 7. Carabins at their own 38-yard line. Senecal with time. Now he'll move to the near side of the field, and now he'll run as the defensive backs back off. He takes a hit going out of bounds into the Montreal bench. Shell wants a flag. But Senecal is no worse for wear as he signals first down, Montreal.
And you can see when Jonathan Senecal leaves the pocket, you can see how confusing it gets. Right, UBC, they bring their 30 front. They bring their 30 front, drop their linebackers back into coverage. Mitchell Town says they're on contain, reading the quarterback. Jonathan Senecal leaves. And look, as a DB, that's where it gets tough. Right, as a DB, that's where it gets tough. You see number 2, Gerald Cummings. He doesn't know. Should I commit to Jonathan Senecal? Is he going to pass the ball? What do I do? And you can see right there, too late. Jonathan Senecal gets out of bounds. It's already a big game.
Senecal with 3 carries already for 35 yards. Lots of time. 5 steamboats. Now he fires it across the middle. It's complete. Muganda comes down with it for Montreal. A gain of 18 and a first down.
One of the things Jonathan Senecal said to us this week when we talked to him is that our offensive line, or their offensive line, has gotten so much better. He talked about how they've become mature, how they have done a great job of keeping him up this season, helping that run game flourish, and you're seeing it right here. This is an amazing UBC defensive line, and they're being held down right now by this Montreal offensive line. Muganda's able to find some space. Senecal gets it to him, and it's a first down, and they're moving.
Shabbat to the top side. Senecal throwing to the near side. It's complete to Riopel as he's driven out of touch. Ben Sangmois makes the tackle for UBC to limit that gain to 3 yards on the play.
If you're the UBC defense right now, the Montreal Carabins are marching down the field on you. They've been able to pass the ball 2 times, run the ball 1 time, all for first downs. What can you do to slow this offense down? You see Riopel right there runs the out route. How do you slow this offense down?
Talking to a defensive coordinator in the RSCQ, he says your only chance is to risk blitzing him almost every play. 2nd and 7. Senecal throws. It's tipped. Oh, nearly one-handed by Muganda, but it falls incomplete.
On that play, the UBC defensive front 7 brought the heat. They were able to blitz with Jackson Sorrello-Brown and Ryan Baker, try to force Senecal to make decisions he doesn't want to make. They're trying to make him uncomfortable. Right now, they're kind of working things out, but as you see right there, they brought the heat. They brought the heat. The pocket broke down quickly. Senecal had to make a decision he didn't want to make. And you know what? Muganda almost caught that.
Almost caught it.
Almost caught that.
So Philippe Boyer will punt. This would have been a 50-yard field goal attempt. But with the swirling winds, they've decided to punt. His best field goal this year was from 46. At midfield, a high spiraling punt will drop at the 13 and come back upfield. And McBean pounces on the football. And there's a flag down. This will be no yards and a 5-yard penalty against Montreal. A 25-yard punt. You see the wind really holding it up. That's the thing about this stadium. The wind's gusting off the lake. Well, there's quite a connection between the Grey Cup champion Alouettes and the Carabins. There's general manager Danny Machocha and offensive coordinator Anthony Calvillo bundled up here in the crowd here today. Of course, Machocha and Calvillo were at the helm back in 2019 when the Carabins last made it to the Vanier Cup. Look at all the players that Machocha has brought in from the Carabins organization. Dequoy, who's become a tremendous defensive back, and the others. So a 20-yard net after the 5-yard no yards penalty on that last punt for UBC. And Isaiah Knight breaks tackles for an 11-yard carry and a first down, but a 20-yard net on that punt. They got the Argo bounce and they got the no yards. Otherwise, they could have been.
Yeah, they've already had a drive where they had to start from the back of the end zone, and they know that's not going to work out well for them, right? So we have to get the second look here. They're able to hand the ball to Isaiah Knight, who they want to use to consistently establish the run, right? And they're able to pick up some yards and get a first down.
Knight, a Canada West All-Star this year with 787 yards rushing during the regular season. Rooker throwing to the near side is complete to Shamar McBean with Harold Miasand in coverage for a short gain on the play.
What you're noticing earlier on is Garrett Rooker's completing passes, but none of these receivers are massively open. There isn't a lot of cushion, and that just goes to show how great this zone coverage secondary works out for that Montreal defense, because again, it allows them to be able to look over their zone, but they're so athletic that they can glue onto these receivers quickly, and you're seeing it on these plays.
2nd and 6. for Rooker and the Thunderbirds. Rooker, play action, throwing right down the middle. It's complete to Dane Kapler for another first down. Kapler is a playmaker on this offense, and that's why they get him on the football field at running back and at receiver.
So far we've seen Dave Kapler run the ball, and now we've also seen him catch passes. He's able to run that in route across the middle of the field, and that entire strong side is actually open. There's no one there, and so Bruno Legacy is in pursuit, and that allows Dane Kapler to get open. Gary Rooker finds him, and that's a much-needed first down for this UBC offense.
Kapler had 4 catches for 51 yards and a touchdown last week in the Mitchell Bowl. 1st and 10, Thunderbirds marching here in the second quarter. The handoff goes to Isaiah Knight. He's got a block, cuts back in the middle. He's lost the football. Knight fumbles the football, and Montreal says they've got it. It's Montreal football. This turnover-hungry machine on defense has its first of the football game 1 week after generating 8 turnovers against the Western Mustangs in the UTEC Bowl.
Yeah, they've actually forced more turnovers this season than touchdowns that they've allowed. And you see, Dane Kapler does a great job blocking for Isaiah Knight, but it looks like Gabriel Massonave is able to poke it out. Ball's on the ground, Montreal falls on it, Montreal ball. Another look right here. Gabriel Massonave, pulls it out.
Maisonneuve with a forced fumble for Montreal.
Welcome back to the 2023 Canada Life Vanier Cup from Kingston, Ontario. I caught a couple of Alouettes. They're done celebrating. No, they're not. They're still celebrating. Danny Machocha, general manager. Anthony Calvillo, offensive coordinator. And, of course, head coach Jason Moss. I have a question, though, for Anthony, because you have worked with Jonathan Senecal before, and we're seeing him move those feet and get those offhanded throws. What was it like? What did you see in him?
Well, he had all the tools to get the job done, whether it was throwing, running, but he had a great job of just reading the defense, and he's had a great year this year.
Appreciate your time, and congratulations again on that great cup.
Carl Shabbat with a gain of 12 on that little swing pass as the Carabin gadget moves the yardsticks. Mentioned turnovers for this Montreal defense to gain possession here. They had 17 turnovers versus 12 points allowed in the last 3 playoff games. That's ridiculous.
Like we said, one of the greatest defenses we've seen of recent memory.
1st and 10 at midfield. Senecal looks one way, throws the other to the wide side. Muganda, look at that move backwards, but he can't make much more than a yard after that play. A gain of 2 on the play. Muganda, who they're so excited to have back in the lineup. I mentioned he was injured for all of this season. He missed the first 6 games and then came back in week 7, got hurt in practice. And so they shut him down until last week in the UTEC Bowl. And he's just a dynamic football player with 3 catches so far, 29 yards through the air, and that 15-yard touchdown run.
Yeah, and Muganda, again, he's been a breath fresh air for this team, and he almost resembles a little bit of Carl Shabbat. He's really talented, right? We saw him on the touchdown out the backfield. We've seen him catch these screen passes. He can do it all.
2nd and long for Senecal. He's got time looking downfield for Shabbat, and he can't hold on to it. Sorello Brown, Jackson Sorello Brown from Hamilton, breaks it up.
Jackson Sorello Brown drops back into coverage. He is glued onto Carl Shabbat. You can see they're lined up right there. That's his guy. Sticks on him. Man, sees Shabbat wants the real route. He's right there. He has the inside, is able to get a hand in there, poke the ball out, and get this Montreal offense off the field. That's a play for Jackson Sorello Brown, who's not had that much luck today, but that's a big play for him.
Boyer to punt on 3rd and 8 for Montreal. Redner, Brookman, and McBean back to receive for UBC. It's a high punt, side winding, comes down quickly, bounces at the 26. McBean takes it on the first bounce, gets a great block, and is swung across the 30-yard line to the 33-yard line. And a huge block on the play by Aaron Parker, the first-year art student from Fort Saskatchewan.
Yeah, take a look at this block. It's actually pretty beautiful. Aaron Parker comes in there, blindside block, and give Shamar McBean some more opportunity to gain a little bit more yardage, which they need. We've seen UBC's been struggling to move the ball, so they need every single yard they can get.
30-yard punt return. 1st and 10, UBC at their 33 with 4:05 to go here in the opening half. Kapler in motion to the wide side. They'll hand off to Isaiah Knight. He cuts right up the middle for a gain of 8 yards on the play. So this big offensive line, this highly touted line that's drawn so many NFL scouts, something like 23 teams have come to UBC this year, pushing around the Carabins on the ground.
Yeah, the Carabins gave a 30 front look there. They blitzed Nicholas Rowe off the edge, but they didn't have any pressure come up the middle, and that allows Giovanni Manu and Lucas Robertson to create a hole for Isaiah Knight to gain some yardage and basically pick up 8 yards.
It's a big confidence builder for Knight after the fumble. 2nd and 2, UBC. Rooker to throw on 2nd and short. Kapler makes the catch and cuts upfield for a 1st down and a gain of 9 yards on the play.
So now on this play, Montreal came with the pressure this time. They didn't want to give UBC any cushion. They saw Isaiah Knight was able to run the ball. They rushed 4, and they're able to take advantage of the space that they have, pick up a couple yards, 1st down.
We've hit the 3-minute warning in Kingston. UBC marching on offense, but their top receiver, Sam Davenport, has been shut down by the Carabins defense, limited to just 1 catch so far. Was shaken up early in the football game on his first target, and so they've tried to take Davenport out of the game. That's why we're seeing the likes of Dane Kapler getting more exposure in this offense.
Yeah, and Sam Davenport, he's their weak side receiver, and he's being covered by #1, Kellen Saint-Cyr, who's an all-Canadian. And then on the other side of the half, you got Bruno Legacy, who's an all-Canadian halfback. And then at the will linebacker spot, you have Harold Micien, who's the President's Trophy winner. So it's almost like a Bermuda Triangle out there on the boundary side, and Sam Davenport can't get any looks.
No fly zone, no question. 1st and 10, UBC. At their own 49-yard line. Garrett Rooker with time. He's going to have to scramble, though, as Eshell was there. The official gets in the way, and it's caught. Unbelievable. Lucas Robertson makes the catch as he inbounds. Yes, it's a gain of 4 as Rooker has to contend with the official and the pass rush.
So speaking of Harold Micien, he actually blitzes off the strong side, and Garrett Rooker looks to that side immediately to see if there's any opening. Well, Mohamed Eshell gets in there. Garrett Rooker has to run. He finds Lucas Robertson right there on the sideline, and Lucas Robertson does a great job of keeping both of his feet in bounds. Not just one, both of his feet in bounds for that 5-yard gain.
Big catch for the tight end, who's a first-team All-Canadian for his blocking ability. 2nd and 6. Their own 54, UBC. 3-man rush, passes away. It's caught by Sam Davenport, and this is going to be very close to a 1st down. Mohamed Eshell from Egypt makes the tackle on defense for Montreal.
Mohamed Eshell, he doesn't start for this defense, but he's a talented linebacker. You see him right here at the Mike spot. He's able to drop back into coverage, read Garrett Rooker, see Sam Davenport too late. Garrett Rooker finds Sam Davenport, and I think that's Sam Davenport's 2nd catch of the day.
So Derek Engel will come in on this 3rd and short, 3rd and inches situation for the Thunderbirds. 2:25 to go and counting now to halftime. Engel under center, and he'll dive forward and have the UBC 1st down as the Carabins try to pull that ball away.
You can see Nicky Fericiano did his best Troy Polamalu impression over there. Jumped over the offensive and defensive line, but it looks like Derek Engel got that 1st down.
Engel was at the helm 1 year ago in the Hardy Cup when UBC lost to Saskatchewan. That was when Rooker was injured, had that horrific dislocated hip and fractured hip socket in week 7 last year. Was in 7 hours of surgery and 2 hours in an incline wheelchair before making an unbelievable, improbable return to the game this year.
That same injury that Tua Tagovailoa had when he was in college.
1st and 10 at the Carabins 49. Garrett Rooker gets the ball away. It's complete to Dane Kapler, who's become a feature target for a rooker. It's a gain of 16 and a UBC first down.
You can see this Montreal front seven. They brought the blitz on that play, and the pocket broke down. It broke down, but you see Dane Kapler coming out of the slot position here. He's lined up with Harold Messiaen, and Messiaen actually blitzes. He blitzes, and that gives Dane Kapler some room to work with Bruno Lagacé, and he does a great job finding the open pocket. Garrett Rooker gets the ball to him immediately, and that puts them first down.
Big play as he beats the first-team All-Canadian Bruno Lagacé. Handoff on the ground. Isaiah Knight shifts back left and right, and then he's hammered by Nicky Farinaccio after a gain of 5, maybe 6 on the play.
What I'm noticing today is that it's not enough for this offensive line only to block in order for the run game to flourish. You see here Isaiah Knight gets the ball, but you see Shamar McBean does a great job blocking. Oh wow, Theo Bennett had an amazing block, actually took his guy out of the camera, and they're able to make some room for Isaiah Knight.
Volume beginning to pump up here on 2nd and 10, and UBC threatening. 2nd and 5, check that. Here's Rooker. Under pressure, and he's sacked. Nicky Farinaccio makes the tackle with pressure from Jeremiah Ojo in this fierce front seven.
The Montreal D-line sends only 3. They have a 30 front. Nicky Farinaccio is there in contain. Garrett Rooker does not see him. He doesn't see him, and Farinaccio is able to close in and stop him from running and gaining any yardage.
That stops the drive in its tracks on 3rd and 9. UBC will have to kick a field goal. It'll be a 41-yard attempt for Kieran Flannery Fleck. His longest this year, 37. Ball is up. And good. A 41-yard field goal. Longest of the year for Flannery Fleck. And another 3 on the scoreboard for UBC. It cuts the margin to 3. But a big play by Farinaccio and Ojo to stop what looked like a very promising offensive drive.
And UBC, they're gaining some confidence. They're able to slowly move down the field, unlike we saw in the first quarter. And you know what? It's only a 3-point game. It's only a 3-point game. If you're UBC, there's nothing to worry about. It's a 3-point game. You're able to, you've shown you can stop that Senecal offense. There is now some confidence on your sideline.
Emergency here now with 1:04 to go until the half. Montreal will take the football at their own 35-yard line.
We're about to see the 2-minute drill here from Jonathan Senecal, this Montreal offense.
Everything goes through Senecal. He's a one-man band on this Montreal offense. He'll hand off. It is Lucas Dembele crashing off, tackle for a gain of 15. Dembele from the Ivory Coast, again part of this United Nations of running backs in the backfield for Montreal.
Yeah, and you can see if we get this replay, there is space all to the strong side of the field. And Carl Chabot does such a great job of blocking Ryan Baker. And that gives the ball carrier the opportunity to make some plays. And you see right there, Justin Soriano slow to get up. But the entire strong side of the field is wide open. This offensive line and the receivers by committee are doing a great job blocking and helping the run game flourish. And that's why Jonathan Senecal has been able to have so much success this season with the run game.
The loud partisan Montreal crowd in attendance here at Richardson Stadium this afternoon with 42 seconds to go until halftime, and Senecal trying to open the Montreal lead. Senecal this year has been so devastating with his feet and with his arm. And that's what makes it such a test for opposing defenses. He rushed for 6 touchdowns this year. None of them on a quarterback sneak. That's what makes him so deadly. He's been compared to Trey Ford by the likes of Western head coach Marshall. Chabot breaks the tackle, gets the ball away, and that's what we're talking about. Senegal in the grasp. It was Aiden Bertuzzi right in his grill, and he gets it away.
Extremely elusive. You see Bertuzzi's out there on contain. His job is to contain Jonathan Senecal. He gets his hands on him. Senecal gets away and finds Chabot up the sideline. Amazing job by this Montreal offense, Jonathan Senecal specifically, for not giving up on the play.
First down with 33 seconds to go until the half. Montreal. Short underneath pass to Dembele, and he'll be close to another first down as the Carabins pick their way through this UBC defense with a sense of urgency. They'll be a half a yard short of the first down. Senegal staying on the ball as time dwindles. Senecal looks to the wide side, rolls to his left. There's a flag on the play, and he will be caught by Cirello Brown. Looked like there was a hold on that offensive line.
On that play, the intention was actually to bring the pressure on Jonathan Senecal, get him uncomfortable, don't give him any more time to look downfield for his options, and they were able to do that.
So it is indeed a holding call against the Carabins.
And you can see the hold right there on Bertuzzi. And Jackson Cirello Brown said in the press conference this week, we don't think Senecal's anything we can't handle.
Continue holding. 40 down. UBC, decline. Third down, close it.
So UBC will decline the penalty. Ball at the UBC 44-yard line. It would be a 41-yard field goal attempt from here. Sorry, 51 on 3rd and 4, but they keep their offense on the field. Big play here in the dying seconds of this opening half. 3rd and 4. Jonathan Senecal with time, rolls away, gets the ball away to Chabot. He's got all kinds of open field. Carl Chabot across the 20 to the 10. Time running out, and he's downed with no second on the clock. Oh my goodness. Time runs out as the Carabins get to within mere yards of the goal line.
You can see they only rushed 3 on this play. And they're in contain. Mitchell Townsend's in contain. He actually makes a jump at Jonathan Senecal, and Carl Chabot's able to get behind him. And wow, look at this. He just wanted to make some moves to see if he can get to the end zone. But Mitchell Townsend makes up for it, and that's a touchdown-saving play to prevent Montreal from getting to the end zone before halftime.
Wow, Chabot so close to hitting the end zone. He could see the clock right in front of him, but time ran out. In a tough defensive battle in this opening half, the Carabins lead by a field goal. UBC with the ball on offense to start the second half.
It's the Vanier Cup here on CBC Sports. Montreal Carabins taking the 9-6 lead into the half over UBC Thunderbirds. Signa Butler now with UBC head coach Blake Nill.
Blake, a game, well, maybe a half-saving tackle right there, right at the end by your club. A little bit of momentum coming in that second quarter, moving the sticks?
A little bit. We got to finish. You know, we're down there. We just got to finish. We can't settle for field goals. Defense is playing outstanding. We got to come out. We got to win the second half.
Any other tweaks that you want to make? I mean, you guys have been, it's hard to handle Senecal out there.
It is. We're doing our best. The guy makes some plays. He's a tremendous athlete.
Just 3-point gap. Go get him in a second.
Thank you.
Oh, we've seen 1 touchdown in this game so far. Both teams playing tight. That came courtesy of Montreal. Muganda getting the TD. Montreal celebrates, but still a close game. Anyone's game. 9-6. Justin Dunk, Donovan Bennett after the break. Halftime at the Vanier Cup. Welcome back inside our CBC Sports studios. Andy Petrillo alongside Justin Dunk and Donovan Bennett. Montreal with a 9-6 lead over the UBC Thunderbirds. Let's begin with Montreal's defense because I feel like, Donovan, they're kind of doing what we expected them to do.
They are, and I call them first 48, because you don't solve them early, you have no shot. They speed you up so much defensively, bringing pressure all the time. And if you're playing touch football, it'd be tough. Look, 1 steamboat, 2 steamboat, ball out, pressure just off, and then it's not touch football in the end, big hits. quickly again, 1, 2, 3, ball out, and then again, just missing the timing is there. Nothing was comfortable, but even when you have it blocked up, they go early. They feel like they need to speed up because the pressure sometimes comes, sometimes they bring it and then drop. And then you're running for your life. We talked about Drake earlier, for all the dogs. They come in waves. So many Montreal football helmets around the ball, nowhere to go with the football in the secondary, nonstop, and that's why they get so many turnovers. This was a close one because they've got hats around the ball nonstop, and then they seek and destroy. Go for football. They teach it all year, and that's why they come up with the takeaways in big games like this, and the fans love it.
Also the physicality. This Montreal team will hit you in the mouth time and time again, and they'll keep doing it until the fourth quarter. That really stands out to me about the Carabins today.
Defense is on point. How about offense and their quarterback, Jonathan Senecal?
This is why he's that Crichton Trophy winner. Senecal's escapability is his calling card, and we saw it on display in the first half of this Vanier Cup. Opening drive for Montreal, breaks the pocket. This is something that UBC cannot let happen because he's so dynamic outside of the pocket with his arm, and of course with his legs. He throws so well, precise on the run, and then when he breaks contain, he can also use those legs. This is a play that just should not happen. Jackson Cirillo-Brown misses a tackle in the pocket, then it's out the gate for Senecal down the sideline to pick up a key first down that led to Montreal's only touchdown of the game. You see it again here, nobody within sight of Senecal from UBC on the right-hand side of your screen. That's an easy pickup for him with his legs, and this might be the worst of all. Bertuzzi, you've got to make that tackle, but Senecal, oh so slippery in the open field. He's been absolutely dynamic for Montreal.
All right, so Montreal looking good here, but here's the thing, though. It's still a 9-6 game. There's only 3 points separating them. Do you still feel like this can go either way in that second half?
No question. I think UBC has right the ship a little bit. They're starting to get better on first down, which gives them a shot on second down with all that pressure.
If you look at the game overall, as much as we've talked about Montreal's defense, it's still a one-score game. That Isaiah Knight fumble from UBC looms large, and Rooker was starting to get into that rhythm I talked about in the second quarter. If he keeps it going in the second half, UBC's got a shot.
All right, well, we heard from Blake Nill already, UBC head coach. He says enough with the field goals. They want to start scoring some touchdowns, but right now it does feel like momentum in Montreal's favor. We'll hear from Montreal's head coach next. Montreal 9, UBC 6 in the 58th edition of the Vanier Cup. Let's get now to Mark Lee and Deshaun Stevens.
Time ran out on that exciting Montreal Carabins offense to end the first half. Senegal at quarterback and Shabbat at receiver, running back, scat back, whatever you want to call them. They've been two of the hardest players to defend in this first half.
Yeah, we're getting a look at why Jonathan Senecal is the Het Crichton Award winner. Again, he's a elite passer, but what makes him special is he's able to make things work on the ground, extend plays with his legs, gain first downs, and beat linebackers. And of course, Kyle Shabbat, this is shades of what we saw from him in 2019 when he was just a rookie. They know that he is a gadget, as you like to say. They know that he is a scat back. He is a lethal weapon, dual threat weapon. Yeah. And so they know that he is directly correlated with success. Get the ball in his hands, and they should be fine.
Shabbat had 4 catches for 79 yards in that opening half. UBC hardly had the football in the first quarter. They had 2 good long drives in the second quarter, but they need to finish if they're going to win this football game.
Yeah, you're starting to see this UBC run game is struggling a little bit. They're struggling against that Montreal front seven, and then they're also struggling with the pass against that Montreal zone defense. If they can be able to work on their timing, if they can be able to break that zone and find holes in the front seven and establish that run game, they'll be fine. But the goal is they got to finish drives. They got to reach the end zone if they want to win this game. Only 2 field goals, that's not going to be enough to beat the RSCQ champions.
Yeah, 2 high-scoring offenses have been held in check so far in this football game, with the Carabins holding a 3-point lead.
We love touchdowns. Yes, we do. Love to see more of those in the second half. When we return, Montreal head coach catches up with Signa Butler from Kingston, Ontario. Stay with us on CBC Sports. Getting ready for the second half of the Vanier Cup here on CBC Sports. Andy, Justin, Donovan with you. All right, This is a close one. What do you feel UBC needs to do, though, to pull away in the second half?
I really think they continue to run the football. We saw a little bit in the second quarter there with Isaiah Knight, but also I want to see some of these receivers get more involved. Rooker needs to get this passing game going. Sam Davenport has a couple catches, but Shamar McBean, their big play threat, number 13 for UBC, has been nowhere to be seen. So I think he needs to be involved for UBC to have a legit shot.
Montreal.
Yeah, well, the late, great Larry Haler would always say, passing gets you the lead, running keeps the lead. Montreal, their running plays have come from Senecal and reverses to their wide receivers. Let's get some running backs involved, shall we? The PSA running backs matter. They have to run the ball, maybe from the I reverse pivot, to keep the lead.
I wonder why you said that. Yeah. All right, let's go sideline now with Signa Butler.
Signa's with Coach anytime? Okay. Coach Marco, pretty good first half, would you say? You're moving the sticks well.
Yeah, I thought we looked nervous a little bit early on, but I thought we got our resources back afterwards, and moving the ball well, playing good defense. We got to finish it off. This is what it's all about. We got to finish off the game.
Any tweaks for you?
Well, obviously we're gonna make a few adjustments, but we just got to play our brand of football and finish out this game.
Best of luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Only one more half to go, and then we have ourselves a U Sports national champion in football. Let's get back to Mark Lee and Deshaun Stevens with the call of the Vanier Cup. It's Montreal, UBC. Gentlemen.
Montreal Carabins with a 3-point lead heading into the second half of this 2023 Canada Life Vanier Cup. Blake Nill always looks like a picture of nerves on the sidelines. You know, he's been frustrated. His team started marching the football in the second quarter, but just couldn't finish with a major. His two big players on offense, Kapler and Knight. His top receiver, Davenport, pretty well shut down with just 2 catches for 17 yards. Montreal, on the other hand, came so close to opening their lead to 10 points when Shabbat was tackled a couple, 3-4 yards from the end zone as time struck 0 in the opening half. Here are the first half stats brought to you by Wilson, the official football of U Sports.
And to be honest, Mark, if you look at this, if you look at the numbers and take away the score, you wouldn't think this is just a 3-point game. The Montreal Carabins, like I said, have done a great job of taking care of the ball. Similar time of possession there, only a 1-minute difference, but the Carabins have almost 100 more yards of offense than the UBC Thunderbirds. So the UBC defense has done a great job in the second quarter of slowing down that Montreal offense. And, you know, now, again, it's only a 3-point game. Can UBC find some momentum in the second half and finish their drives?
Shamar McBean, who has just 1 catch in this football game, is back along with Caesar Redner Brook to return this opening kickoff here to start the second half. It is McBean at his 12-yard line. Shamar McBean has a seam, bounces outside, and Mohamed Eshel will wrap him up at the 39-yard line. So good field position for this UBC offense to begin their opening drive here in the second half.
You know what? If Shamar McBean's going to be shut down on offense, he's going to have to make his impact on this game through special teams. He's going to need to have those great returns to put this offense in great position to somewhat drive down the field and put points on the board.
Montreal has taken away some of their big-time skill players on UBC. McBean with 1 catch for 4 yards. Redner Brookman, 1 catch for 13. First down, UBC at their 39-yard line. 4-man rush and a big demolishing hit as Kapler is flattened by Farinaccio.
What a look from that Montreal defense. They open the second half with a 40 front, and they send the blitz. They know that UBC is going to try to establish the run early because that's what helps sets up the pass.
Check that was Maxime Francon who made that big tackle for a loss of 5, 2nd and 15. I mean, honestly, if they take Kapler out of this football game, then UBC might be in some trouble.
Serious trouble.
Here comes the blitz on 2nd and long. Rooker with time gets it away. It's caught by Kapler, and a relief catch there. You'll have a gain of 3. It'll be 3rd and 12.
And UBC's offensive line actually did a great job, you know, being able to handle that pressure, give Garrett Rooker some time considering the intensity of that blitz. But again, now it's that zone defense. They're able to close in on the receivers, take away options, and then your only option left is Dane Kapler on a short yardage play that cannot get you a first down.
Lots of time, but when you're playing a zone blitz, as Montreal likes to do, it can be very confusing with a quarterback who gets some happy feet. Flannery Fleck with a wobbling punt short to the 43. It's Shabbat. Shabbat nowhere to go, and he's tackled by Mitchell Townsend. A 34-yard punt from Flannery Fleck, and so excellent field position for the Carabins, who came so close to scoring a touchdown on the last play of the first half.
And Mark, you talked about it to open the second half. Carl Shabbat has been amazing for Jonathan Senecal. If UBC wants to have a chance at winning this game, they're going to have to find a way to shut down Carl Shabbat and take away Jonathan Senecal's top option. Make him look elsewhere.
With Dussault out, I mean, Shabbat's been their go-to player on offense. First down, the handoff to Dembele, and Dembele is wrapped up by Keyshawn Carter as it gets ugly in the trenches in a gain of 3.
The best thing that Dembele did on that play was actually hang on to the football. Keyshawn Carter had his hands on the football, and he was dragging it out of Dembele's hands. So the best thing that he did on that play was hang on to the football, not give it up, and keep them alive on second down.
Carter and Kyle Sampson create all kinds of mayhem between the tackles on that line of scrimmage, and a big play there by Carter to make it 2nd and 7, Montreal.
Carter, 6'2", 270 pounds. He is a disruptor up the middle.
They just get it off in time on the play clock. Senecal sidearms it high, intended for Iraqi Muganda. And so 2 and out for the Carabins on their first offensive series to start the second half.
And UBC, hey, they were able to force the Carabins 2 and out. That's what you want. Senecal drops back. He goes through all his reads, and he gives that side arm that we've seen ever so often, but he overthrows Muganda.
So McBean and Redner Bruckman are back to return as Philippe Boyer gets set to punt. He's been a big field changer with his booming punts. This is a high towering punt, and it bounces out of bounds near the 30-yard line, and there's some pushing and shoving after the play. 2 really good special teams battling toe-to-toe here this afternoon in a 3-point ball game. Montreal up.
Welcome back to Queen's University in Kingston, Ontario for the 2023 Canada Life Vanier Cup. I'm with Lisette Johnson-Stapley, Chief Sport Officer for U Sports, and we know we're here this year. We know we're here next year, but you got some news on the next 2 years.
Yes, I do. It's a great day for university football in Canada, and I'm happy to say that we will be heading west in 2025 to Regina, Saskatchewan. And then in 2026, we'll be heading back to Quebec City at Laval University.
Excellent news for U Sports football and a great display today, Lisette. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Signa. Get your woolies on in a couple of years as we head west and then back to Quebec City. First down series, gain of 4 for UBC, starting from their 29-yard line.
Hand the ball off to Isaiah Knight. Montreal's giving a 40 look, and you see some opening up the middle of the field, and Isaiah Knight's able to get through there, but Nicky Farinaccio and that entire front 7 are able to close in and stop that run.
Trying to run a trap against that Montreal front. 2nd and 6, UBC. Here comes the blitz. Rooker rolls away from pressure, buys some time, throws it downfield near the sideline. It's caught. Shamar McBean, we were just talking about him. They need to get this game breaker in this football game with just 1 catch for 4 yards in the first half.
And so what actually happens on this play is that the Sam, Nicolas Waugh, blitzes off the edge, and so Garrett Rooker says, let me roll to my right and see what's going on over there. And he sees Shamar McBean run the comeback route, beat Kaylin St-Cyr, catch on the sideline, both feet in. That's Shamar McBean's 2nd reception of the day.
Gain of 25 yards against the lockdown corner, Kaylin St-Cyr of the Carabins. inside of Montreal territory. Play action now. Rooker firing across the field into coverage. It's incomplete. Louis-Philippe Gauthier, the field side corner, breaks up the pass intended for Sam Davenport, who has just 2 catches in this football game.
And if you're Garrett Rooker, you see Sam Davenport one-on-one with Louis-Philippe Gauthier, you're going to take that chance. Because one of the big things with Sam Davenport, why they brought him in, you see the pass interference there, but Sam Davenport always comes down with a lot of contested catches. So if you see him contested, you're going to give him a shot.
Gauthier with 2 interceptions in the playoffs, 1 in the regular season. 2nd and 10. UBC showing blitz. Here they come. Rushing 7. Rooker rolls away, throws to the near sideline. It's caught, but it's out of bounds. Davenport going up for that ball, but can't get a foot down inside.
Sam Davenport had a look there. Garrett Rooker is slowly starting to become comfortable with this. You see Sam Davenport again, one-on-one, Louis-Philippe Gauthier. He's in zone coverage. He's in zone coverage. Give Sam Davenport a look. It looks like he actually does get a foot in.
It looked very close.
It looks like he does get a foot in. Yep. And look, Garrett Rooker does a great job rolling to his left. That's a great ball. That's a great ball. Puts it in only a spot that Sam Davenport can get it, but it's ruled incomplete.
Flannery Fleck to punt on 3rd down, angling a shank out of bounds. Very short punt that goes out near the 35-yard line. But Sam Davenport so close to getting a toe in bounds. Stevenson Bone really fought to have him on the team this year as he transferred from St. FU after that program folded. And the main reason he wanted him was because he wins the 50-50 balls. He makes those contested catches. Great catch there, but just a fraction of an inch away from getting that toe in bounds.
And if you're UBC from that drive, even though you went 2-0, you don't feel bad. You're able to get some good looks. You're able to move the ball. There's some hope.
Great field position for Montreal on 1st down. Get the ball away on play action to Chabot. Chabot knocked out of bounds for a short gain of 5, maybe 6 on the play.
And another look at this play. Sam Davenport gets up. Garrett Rooker puts it in a spot only where he can get it. And Sam Davenport actually does get a foot in bounds. He does get a foot in bounds. Wow. What a catch by the SFU transfer.
Sure looked like it was close, but there was no review. And Davenport shaking his head. Frustrated. 2nd and 4. Carabins. Senecal throws it down the middle. It's caught by William Legault, their big-time possession receiver, for a gain of 9 and a 1st down. Legault, number 3 in receiving this year with the Carabins out of Champlain College.
Legault's actually Jonathan Senecal's roommate, and Senecal talks so much about how he, Legault, Chabot all live together and have been able to develop this great chemistry over the last 3 years, and you're kind of seeing shades of it here today.
Well, Senecal going to somebody other than Chabot and Muganda.
For the first time in a while.
1st down, 10 to go. Handoff to Chabot on the jet sweep. The pint-sized fire hydrant breaks a tackle from Ryan Baker and will cross the 50-yard line and take some shot out of bounds. Right in that BC bench. No flag.
If you take a look at this play, Jackson Cirillo Brown is coming off the edge on the linebacker blitz, on the Sam blitz. And Jonathan Senecal gets the ball, and he's able to block. He's blocking for Carl Chabot. And that block is able to prevent Jackson Cirillo Brown from getting to Carl Chabot and gives Carl Chabot some opportunities to make some plays. He's able to shut a block from Ryan Baker and eventually get out of bounds. And what turns out to be a play that could have been stopped before the line of scrimmage ends up being a pretty solid gain for this Montreal Carabins offense.
5'7", 175. He's hard to bring down, hard to find out there. Chabot has been a big-time player. Halifou bounces outside. He's got daylight past Baker. It's a foot race and pushed out of bounds by Ben Sangmua.
Let's get another look at that. There was no one there on the field side. There was no one there on the field side.
Gain of 31 yards by Glody Halifou.
You take a look right here. Jonathan Senecal hands up to Halifou. And there's no one there on the field side. He's one-on-one. He's one-on-one with Caden Cook, and he beats Caden Cook. And there's no one there. No one safe. No safety. Nathan Giraud Langlois who's also a Canada West All-Star or RCQ All-Star as a blocker, makes a key block to open up the lane.
First down, Montreal. Senecal's passes away, and it's caught by Gourgon.
And you're starting to see Jonathan Senecal's getting other receivers into play.
He's limping.
He's hurt.
He was hurt going into this game, had his ankle wrapped up, and was limping through practice this week.
But you can see Jonathan Senecal, he's starting to get other receivers into the game now. The whole first half, it was just Muganda and Shabbat. And now we're seeing Jonathan Senecal start to move the ball around.
As we mentioned, injuries to Montreal receivers have been tough this year, with Hassan Dosso, their leading receiver and biggest deep threat, suffering a compound fracture in the final week of the season against Concordia. Now Gourgon is down.
And it looks like a non-contact injury.
It's his ankle. There's no question he's had trouble with that. It was wrapped up, taped heavily during practice this week, and he hobbled and limped through practice. Senecal so far has completed 14 of 20 passes for 180 yards, 1 interception. He has now thrown to 7 different receivers, so beginning to mix it up after really relying on Shabbat and Muganda.
And we know that UBC secondary and linebacking core, they're smart. They're able to catch on to passes. Pat Tracy's one of the best defensive coordinators in the country. He's able to make halftime adjustments and understand who needs to be shut down, and we can definitely tell that he's been able to see that Carl Shabbat, Muganda, are who Jonathan Senecal is going to. Let's see if we can shut them down and force him to get the ball elsewhere. You have a look right here. It's a great offense and defensive matchup, right? This is one of the best, I guess, passing attacks in the country when you're looking at Montreal. And then this defense, this UBC defense, they're kind of middle in the pack in U Sports. They're not top 10, they're not bottom 10, they're kind of middle in the pack. But what makes them special is that they're literally with just so much athletes on that defense.
So Gourgon will make his way off the field under his own steam, favoring that ankle after getting some medical attention. So red zone offense for Montreal on 2nd and 3. Hand off to the running back, Dembele, battling for first down yardage, but he looks like he'll be short on the play. It's a gain of 2, so it'll be 3rd and 1.
And they rush 4 on the defensive line. The linebackers just say, hey, I'm going to play the ball. Let's just play the ball. And they see run, and they're able to close in. Jackson Cirillo Brown's been all over the ball today. He's the first man to get to the ball. Tackle gets shed. Jarrell Cummings gets there, and eventually Mitchell Townsend gets there to finish the play.
Look at the double team on Kyle Sampson as Adam Lachance makes a big block. He's 433 pounds, the starting right guard for Montreal. There he is right there at 69. So 3rd and a yard. Shabbat goes into the Wildcat formation, and a Thunderbird drops. That's Jarrell Cummings, falls to the turf, and the Montreal fans are derisive, thinking it's a stalling tactic, but Cummings favoring his right leg. May have just cramped up.
That entire sideline is full of Montreal fans. That entire end zone sideline facing the pavilion is full of Montreal fans.
Jarrell Cummings is the other transfer from St. Francis Simon Fraser University, along with Sam Davenport. You see him drop there at his boundary corner position. Vancouver native, was a Canada West All-Star this year, and so he'll have to come out for 3 plays.
Blake Mill said that when the SFU program shut down, the one person that he wanted to come to UBC was Jarrell Cummings, because he had recruited him coming out of high school, and Jarrell Cummings chose to go to SFU, and he said, hey, we got a second chance at this kid. Let's see if we can get him a second time, and they did.
So 3rd down and a yard to go with Red Valkita in at running back for Montreal. Senecal in the shotgun, hands off to Kita. He's hit hard at the line of scrimmage, driving on a second effort to have the first down.
And that play was all number 42, Mitchell Townsend. Mitchell Townsend did an amazing job. He's lined up there at the mic, lined up eye to eye with Jonathan Senecal, reads the run, blitzes through the gap, and is able to get to Red Valkita immediately to slow him down and stop that play.
You know, this is the team with no running game, but on this drive, their running backs have come to the fore. First down and goal to go. Montreal. Senecal, play action. He'll roll away from pressure. Get the ball away, looking for Chabot, but it's incomplete. Kyle Sampson busting through the second-team All-Canadian on the defensive line for UBC.
Kyle Sampson, yeah, again, All-Canadian for a reason. He's disruptive, and Blake Nell says he's light on his feet. He's nimble on his feet, able to get through the offensive line there and disrupt Senecal from getting off that pass. Important red zone play.
Second and goal from the 7-yard line. 9th play of this drive coming up for the Carabins. Senecal in the shotgun. He'll pass. Time, now he scrambles to the short side. He wants to throw. Now he'll run. Open end zone, touchdown. How do you defend that? Jonathan Senecal to the end zone on a 7-yard run.
UBC gave a great look on defense. They showed all-out blitz. When we get the replay here, they showed all-out blitz. They had 4 rushing, dropped the linebackers back into coverage. Jarrell Cummings sees Senecal. He sees Senecal. Gets to him. He gets to him. Senecal fakes a throw, makes him jump, and it's all grass. Another look here. You get that sideline view. It's that fake right there. That fake that made Jackson Sorrell-Brown jump and leaves all grass for Jonathan Senecal to basically walk into the end zone.
The point after from Boyer is good, and the Carabins open a 10-point lead. 16-6 on the legs of quarterback Jonathan Senecal, capping an 8-play drive with a 7-yard touchdown scramble.
Welcome back to the 2023 Canada Life Vanier Cup from Kingston, Ontario. We just saw Jonathan Senecal run there like he always does, it seems. Well, one of the reasons he came back, he had a place to stay with Carl Chabot, who he's been connecting with today. They also room with William Nago, and they get along so well. They never had an argument, even when they play NHL and Madden. And I asked them, is there a chef in the household there? And they said, no. And I said, do you go to Uber Eats? No. Where do you eat then? We eat mum food. So that's what's fueling these guys today, mum food. So home cooking never gets old, Mark and Deshaun.
Yeah. They call him Joe Football. Jonathan Senecal had 6 rushing touchdowns during the regular season. Puts his team up by 10 with that 7-yard running touchdown. He led all RSEQ quarterbacks in rushing, and that's a Montreal team record this year with his rushing abilities. Here's a bouncing ball, and Redner Brookman pulls it in and then gets slammed. Redner Brookman taken down at the 24-yard line.
And you see a little miscommunication here between McBean, and it's the bounce. It's the bounce. They got a good bounce earlier, bad bounce there. Redner Brookman's able to just pick it up and see what he can get. But they'll be starting this drive around the 22.
Jamison Goudreau with the tackle on special teams for Montreal. They have so many linebackers in their lineup, and they all feature in the special teams, punishing in that division of football. Garrett Rooker down the middle, intended for Dane Kapler. He's got the catch, and a first down in between Miasson and Farinaccio, the linebacking core for Montreal.
Yeah, on that play, you can see Montreal they actually only had 2 linebackers over the middle. What they're actually doing now is they're focusing on trying to stop that pass, and Farinaccio got there. He got there, and Garrett Rooker was able to squeeze that ball in between that tight triangle of Saint-Cyr, Farinaccio, and Messiaen.
Rooker trying to decipher this zone match coverage he's seeing here this afternoon. Gets the ball away, a little screen to Isaiah Knight, and a short gain of 2 yards on the play as Perrier, the 175-pound dynamo, makes the tackle from the secondary of the Carabins.
And Garrett Rooker, all first half, he was going to who? Dane Kapler and Isaiah Knight. And the first 2 plays of this drive, who does he go to? Dane Kapler and Isaiah Knight. So we're seeing UBC stay consistent with who they've been going to throughout the game, seeing if they can develop some confidence on offense.
Giovanni Manu, the 6'8", 350-pound left tackle on this UBC offensive line against the blitz. The ball is away and incomplete, intended for Dane Kapler. tackler once again, and you can see in this zone coverage, as soon as a receiver moves into the zone, the Montreal defensive backs move right on, latch onto that receiver like a match coverage. It's so hard for a quarterback to find openings. We saw last week Evan Hillock of the Mustangs throwing 3 interceptions against this defense, more than he threw in the entire season. Flannery Fleck to punt from his own 30. It goes off the side of his foot, bouncing to Shabbat at his 37. He'll scoot out of bounds at about the 41-yard line. A 32-yard punt as Flannery Fleck is unable to flip the field. Carabins on offense when we come back. Welcome back to the Canada Life Vanier Cup on CBC as Jonathan Senecal and the Montreal offense is back on the field at their own 41-yard line. Senecal coming off that 7-yard touchdown scramble. He was named last night the Heck Crichton, or 2 nights ago, the Heck Crichton Trophy winner at the awards banquet in Kingston. Look at his statistics. This kid has been on the radar in Quebec since he was a high school athlete, leading the RSEQ this year in passing once again, all passing categories. He is a quarterback who gives defenses fits with his ability to extend drives with his feet. To stay on the ground, Dembele sidesteps the first tackle, breaks outside. There's a flag on the play. He'll have a gain of 11 as Cook makes the tackle for UBC. Well, let's check the flag. It'll be a holding call against the Carabins to bring this back. So Dembele of the Ivory Coast has his gain nullified. He has an average carry coming into this game of 7 yards per carry, which is phenomenal for a back who only had 139 yards rushing this year. Don't get used much. Here's the holding call from referee Brent Young.
Mark, to touch back on Senecal earlier, many people like to call him the greatest quarterback in program history. And the greatest quarterback in program history just had his greatest season, to put things into perspective.
So Shabbat now in the backfield as a running back. He'll take the play action, and Senecal rolling to the wide side of the field. Shadowed by Townsend, beats him and scrambles out of bounds. So a gain of 8 on 1st and 20, make it 2nd and 12, but that's how Senecal can beat you just when you think you've got him wrapped up.
It's the hesitation moves. He takes the field side. He sees an opening. He runs, stops a little bit, makes Mitchell Townsend fall, hesitate, and again takes advantage of the open grass we saw earlier with Jackson Sorrello Brown on that touchdown run, and we just saw it right now on that run to give them a couple of yards. Still 2nd and 12.
The 2nd and long. Senecal throws a screen to the backside. Dembele is caught immediately for little or no. It's a loss of 2. And so a big-time play for the UBC defense as Aaron Parker sticks his nose into the fray for the Thunderbirds.
UBC's defense has actually been pretty solid today. To hold Montreal to only 16 points through 3 quarters, considering what the Carabins have done this season, very impressive. UBC's defense has been their saving grace, even though their offense has been able to struggle. So again, being able to get that Montreal offense off the field, let's see if the UBC offense now can get something going.
That's the flip side of this story. The Thunderbirds averaged 34 points a game this year, and here they are shot down to 2 field goals so far in this Vanier Cup. Boyer, the high spiraling punt. Rednor Brookman at his own 33, bellies back. Now back upfield. Rednor Brookman is tackled at the 40-yard line, where the Thunderbirds, frustrated on offense, will go back to work. You know, you look at this defense they're facing, Deshaun. Through 11 games here to the Vanier Cup, they have allowed 9.5 points a game. That's #1 in the country.
Yeah, and you know what? This Montreal defense, again, it's one of the top defenses in the country. And if you see what they've done in the RSEQ all season, there's no surprise here seeing it carry over to the playoffs.
Kapler and Knight in the backfield as running backs. Now Kapler motioning. He'll take the ball straight up the gut for a gain of 4 yards on the play.
And Montreal, they're starting to get a sense of how this UBC offense operates. They certainly understand that Dane Kapler is an important piece for this offense, but what they're starting to understand is on first down, they're going to try to establish the run, and so what they're doing is they're just rushing four, letting the linebackers sit back and play the ball.
Garrett Rooker has had trouble with zone coverages this year, and that's what he's getting a heaping dose of here from the Carabins. Edrin Williams-Hernandez makes his first appearance in the game in the slot for UBC on 2nd and 6. Ball is away. It's complete to Redner Brookman, but he'll be just short of the first down, about a yard short. But Williams-Hernandez has an injured ankle. It's been banged up this season, really, with play in only 3 of the 8 regular season games. But his ankle is shot up so he can make an appearance in this game, and they could use him now.
Well, Mark, you talk about the zone defense. The one thing about zone is that receivers are always open at some point, normally in the beginning, right? And near the end of the play, see Derek Engel coming in here, is when the DBs are able to latch on and take away those passing lanes.
3rd and 1 gamble. They hand off deep in the backfield to Dane Kapler, and wow, he has to fight his way back. And he'll have 2 yards on the carry and that first down on that deep handoff.
Dane Kapler, important first down needed to end out this quarter. They're going into the 4th quarter now, down 10.
That's the final play of the 3rd quarter, with the Carabins up by 10, 16-6. You're watching the Canada Life Vanier Cup on CBC. Senecal and the Carabins giving the Thunderbird defense all they can handle. And they're up by 10 with 1 quarter to go. Sean, let's check the 3-quarter stats brought to you by Wilson, the official football of U Sports.
Again, the Montreal Carabins have been able to make use of having the football in their hands. Again, almost 100 yards more offense than the UBC Thunderbirds. But for UBC, that big elephant in the room is, can they put points on the board? Only 2 field goals through 3 quarters. Blake Nell said it at halftime. We will not win this game from kicking field goals. We need to find the end zone.
Carabins with 100 more yards of offense so far in this football game, as Rooker, the American from League City, Texas, goes back to work with excellent field position. They start this drive at their own 51-yard line.
UBC entered the 4th quarter trailing against Alberta in the Hardy Cup and against Manitoba in the Canada West semifinal. They've done this before.
Yeah, they've been 4th quarter comeback teams for a long time. Isaiah Knight takes the handoff from Rooker, and he'll be slammed for a gain of maybe 1 on the play. Guillaume Perrier filling from the secondary. Man, he packs a wallop for a 175-pound defensive back.
At 175 pounds, Jean Perrier got into the hole, and he went chest up with Isaiah Knight, stood him up, and stopped that play. That's a huge play for Guillaume Perrier. Very underrated play, but look, stood up Isaiah Knight, shut that run down.
2nd and 9, UBC. Here comes the blitz from Montreal. Rooker in trouble, gets it away. It's complete to Robertson. Robertson breaks a tackle and falls to the turf shy of the 50-yard line. It'll be 3rd and about 3 yards.
What makes the pressure that Montreal is giving special is that it comes from both sides, and it just pockets around Garrett Rooker to the point where he can't even actually escape the pocket and run. He's a mobile quarterback, but there's nowhere to run. So he's standing in there, he's being courageous, he's being calm, cool, and collective, and just trying to find a receiver.
Fontenard, that beast, that defensive tackle for Montreal. Echelle is out there as UBC keeps its offense on the field. 3rd and 2, close to 3. Rooker, handoff to Knight. He's stopped in the backfield. Nicky Farinaccio with the tackle for a loss and a turnover on downs for UBC.
What a play by Nicky Farinaccio, the 2022 President's Trophy winner.
Denny Touchette, the defensive coordinator, has really dialed up a defense here today.
Wow, able to just shut down that run. Third down, handed off to Isaiah Knight, and Nicky Farinaccio is waiting for him in the hole, to shut down that run.
So UBC has coughed the ball up twice now on a fumble and a turnover on downs as Farinaccio makes the big stop, the second team All-Canadian for the Carabins. And Mason Nias, the former great quarterback with Saskatchewan, on the bench with Rooker trying to figure it all out. You look at this Montreal defense and what this defense has done to teams throughout the playoffs, holding Western to just a field goal, holding Laval to just 2 field goals.
Limiting the last 2 Vanier Cup champions to just 9 points over 2 games. In the UTEC Bowl, they limited the #1 offense in the country to just a field goal. This season, they shut out the Laval Rouge et Or for the first time. First time Laval's ever been shut out in program history, 28-0.
So it's a mayhem defense for Marco Ayadeluca and the Carabins, getting their second turnover of the game. Senecal against pressure, throws it deep downfield. It's incomplete. William Legault was the intended receiver. He says there should be a flag, looking for contact, but there is no flag on the play.
On that
Caden Cook was the defender.
Let's get a second look at that play. UBC sent 3 and dropped the linebackers back into coverage. Jackson Cirillo Brown showed blitz, dropped back into coverage, had Shabbat, and Jonathan Senecal goes deep for really the first time we've seen today. Looks to Legault, and there's a lot of contact on that play.
I'm not sure it was catchable. 2nd and 10 from their own 53. The Carabins flood 4 receivers here to the wide side of the field. Senecal with some time. Now he'll roll, buy some more, throws it downfield. It's incomplete. Intended for Hiragi Muganda, and it hits the turf.
And this is what makes Senecal so dangerous, so hard to cover. He leaves the pocket, rolls out. Jackson Cirillo Brown, oh, you see right there, non-contact injury.
Goodness gracious. William Legault clutching his knee, drops to the field. Another Montreal receiver going down. I mean, when they lost Oso against Concordia, the whole team just kind of like froze. They were taken out of the game by that horrific broken leg and ended up losing by 2 to the Stingers. And now Legault, one of their clutch possession receivers, is down, and they hope it's not serious.
And that Doso injury happened so early in the game, it really took the life out of this football team. Another look again. You see Legault lined up there in the slot. And pre-snap, you see it pre-snap, and he hobbles his way to the ground.
So William Legault, the second-year player from Champlain College out of Saint-Julie, is in all kinds of difficulty. The pain written all over his face, and he can't put any weight on his left leg. So Legault taken out of the game. Gourgon also hobbled with an ankle injury. And Shabbat has been the gadget, the Mr. Everything on offense for Senecal. Shamar McBean and Caesar Redner Bruckman are back to return this punt from Boyer. In the UTEC Bowl, he had a 44.6-yard average, a terrific punter with consistent high spirals. This time he kicks a line drive. It'll come directly to McBean at his 10. He tries to bounce outside. McBean now has some daylight down to the sidelines, and he's gang tackled at the 26 and hogtied by Lessard. And now there's some pushing and shoving after some late contact. Lessard right in the mix of all that.
These are two passionate football teams. Two passionate football teams. And that was a big return from Shamar McBean. And this UBC team is looking for life. They're looking for life, and this Montreal team is trying to take away that life with 1 quarter left.
Mason Nias with ice water in his veins. I mean, he is such a cool, calm man to have on the sideline for Rooker, who's having a hard time getting anything going here in the second half. First and 10 for the UBC Thunderbirds with lots of time, more than 11 minutes to go here in the fourth. And here's the scene after the tackle on Shamar McBean. He gets up and gets right in the face of Gabriel Lessard with a headbutt right there. The official was a couple of feet away. And Montreal wanted a flag, but there was no flag on the play.
You're in the Vanier Cup. It's the fourth quarter. You're down by 10. Things are not going your way. Emotions are going to run high for this UBC team.
So the Montreal Partisans amplify their cheers. UBC on offense. Rooker rolling for time in pursuit. Throws it to the near side, and it's well high and out of bounds. Rooker struggling to get into a rhythm here, but you can't write off UBC. This is a team we talked about making great fourth quarter comebacks, including in the Hardy Cup when it looked like they were finished against Alberta, but with 52 seconds, Rooker drove the Thunderbirds 95 yards for a touchdown with no time on the clock.
And they had 5 turnovers in that fourth quarter. 5 turnovers.
And survived. Second and 10. This is a big down for UBC, trying to get something going. On offense, Garrett Rooker against pressure again. Nice spin around, gets away, has some time, looking for a receiver. He'll find Robertson, the big tight end, but he'll be short of the first down as he's driven out of bounds by Nicholas Waugh. So a yard and a half shy of the first down. UBC.
Mark, Garrett Rooker he's learning how to deal with the pressure. Fontenard comes in there untouched. Garrett Rooker stays calm, cool, collective. Shout out to Mason Nias, is able to find some time, but there's no one open downfield. It's the zone. The zone secondary is taking away his options, and he can't make anything happen. And so he's going to these pitch passes, these last-second checkdowns, such as right here to Lucas Robertson. It's not going to help you move down the field, but it's better than nothing.
So UBC has called a timeout. 3rd and a yard and a half. Remember, they turned it over on downs on their last 3rd down gamble. Let's go to the sidelines, and here's Signa.
Yeah, Garrett Rooker in talking with the coaches right now about how they're going to get this get this first down here. You know, it's a miracle really that he's playing, guys. And I know you talked about this earlier. 13 months ago, dislocated hip. Well, the man that did that surgery is a UBC alumni, Dr. David Stockton. And, you know, Garrett Rooker, an academic All-Canadian, going to graduate in kinesiology. And go figure, he's thinking about orthopedic surgery as something. But right now, he's got to do some surgery to break down this Montreal defense, that's for sure.
Well, you got a first-hand look at how that all works. Spending 7 hours in surgery and then 2 months in an incline wheelchair, living in the accessible residence at UBC. But he's come back here in a big 3rd and a yard and a half situation. They need to get to the 35-yard line. Look at this. Big-time gamble in their own end. They'll stay on the ground. Isaiah Knight takes the handoff, and he'll have the first down with a gain of 5 as Harold Miasson, the President's Trophy winner this year, makes the tackle from Montreal. Wow, big-time gamble.
Big-time gamble. Great job by the offensive mind. But look at number 82, Lucas Robertson, again, an All-Canadian, who's an All-Canadian tight end for his blocking ability. Not for his ability to run and catch the ball. Blocking ability is able to create that hole for Isaiah Knight and get that much-needed first down.
Blake Neal can hardly watch. He's so stressed. His team in another 4th quarter trying to come from behind. Handoff is to Isaiah Knight. Stutter step. And a very short gain of about 1 on the play as Farinaccio And Wah and Ojo were waiting with open arms.
Yeah, Isaiah Knight tried to follow Giovanni Manu, number 76, on that play. And like you said, all three of them, they were waiting for Isaiah Knight. You see right here, Ojo on the edge right there. He reads it. He reads it. Legace is in there. Fernacho's in there. They blow that up and stop that run.
So another second and long situation. UBC battling this staunch Montreal defense and their crowd. Here comes pressure on 2nd and 9. Rooker way downfield. He's got it. It's Dane Kapler, the Swiss Army knife for UBC to the rescue. Oh, check that, Sam Davenport. Davenport, their big-time receiver, makes the catch.
What a big play by Garrett Rooker. We're going to get the replay right here, and there is blitz coming off the edge on both sides. He stays in the pocket, stays calm, cool, collective, puts up a prayer, gets it over the hands of Perrier. Perrier almost tipped it, lands right in the hands of Sam Davenport. Huge first down, and now they're on the Montreal side of the field.
Gain of 26 to the pass, for the pass to Davenport, and play is whistled down. And will this be an illegal substitution for UBC?
That's on the formation, UBC.
Yep, illegal substitution is the call. So a 5-yard penalty makes it 1st and 15. Davenport with 3 catches for 43 yards in this football game.
Montreal has shut down UBC's top receiver.
So 1st and 15 on the Montreal side of center at their 48-yard line. 8.5 minutes to go in regulation. UBC in a familiar spot in playoff football. Coming from behind. Pressure now. 5-man rush. Rooker gets the ball away. It's complete. Sam Davenport makes the catch for the Thunderbirds. The gain of 7.
Like you said, 5-man rush on that play, and the linebackers dropped back into coverage. Sam Davenport was able to run a slant over the middle. Replay right here. Sam Davenport is able to run a slant over the middle, and there's no linebacker there. And of course, Perrier, he's playing zone coverage. He's not lined up to play man defense with Sam Davenport, so Sam Davenport is able to beat him over the middle and haul in that pass to move the chains.
2nd and 8. This is the 8th play of this Thunderbird drive. Another 2nd and long situation. They bring the house. Rooker's in trouble. He gets away, rolling to the near side, and it's complete. Shamar McBean makes the catch for a gain of 11 and a UBC first down.
What a play. What a play. Let's get the replay right here. Being able to see Garrett Rooker stand in the pocket. Stand in the pocket. Understand where his receivers are. You see Shamar McBean starts out on the weak side, runs a cross route over the field, and Garrett Rooker says, let me get out here and line up with Shamar McBean, get the ball out, and Shamar McBean's able to haul it in and move the chains.
First down, UBC. The ball is away quickly and complete to their tight end, Lucas Robertson. The gain of 9. So UBC now beginning to find some rhythm on offense.
And if you see on that play, Garrett Rooker got the ball out immediately. Why? Because he was expecting the blitz. Why? Because he's been blitzed this entire game. So now he's starting to make quicker decisions, quicker throws, and try to move the ball quicker.
2-score football game. A 10-point Montreal lead. 2nd and 1. UBC. Rooker to throw. Right down the middle. It's complete again to his big for a first down. The first team All-Canadian.
And now, Mark, if you're UBC, clock is starting to become a factor. 4 minutes left. 6 minutes left in the 4th quarter. You are down by 10. You need to score on this drive because you are in a 2-score game. You need to get something on this drive.
Into the red zone where UBC has scored touchdowns on 74% of their chances this season. Rooker good on 6 of 7 passes for 67 yards on this drive. Here comes more pressure. Rooker steps up. He'll throw to the end zone, incomplete. In behind Sam Davenport. He may have been able to run for the touchdown. It opened right up.
I don't know if they'll ever see the middle of the field that open again. But again, once again, you're going to see here on the replay, the linebackers drop back into coverage, and it opens the entire field, and they do a great job. Gavin Coates does a great job of opening the hole. And Garrett Rooker throws it behind Sam Davenport, but it looks like he could have ran that ball if he wanted to.
Davenport was open. Defensive coordinator Denis Touchette facing the first big threat of this football game. Isaiah Knight comes into the game at running back. 3 receivers to the wide side. Here comes a big-time blitz from Montreal. Rooker with time, gets it away. Diving forward is Redner Brookman, but it's incomplete.
Heavy
what
blitz.
A blitz.
Heavy blitz. Heavy all-out blitz on that play. Let's get the replay here. They send the full package, all linebackers. They're rushing for 3D linemen. Garrett Rooker has very little time to get the ball out. He sees Cesar Redmond Brookman on the slant in the end zone. Just can't come down with it.
Montreal has not allowed a touchdown pass in their last 6 games. So another field goal attempt for this UBC outfit. Blake Nail frustrated once again that the offense can't finish with a major. Ball is up and good from that left hash mark. So Kieran Flannery-Fleck is 3 for 3 in the field goal game, but they need more than that, and it's now a 1-score football game as the Thunderbirds draw to within 7. While it's getting late, Touchette with his defense trying to find a way to stop UBC, but should Montreal win this game, they'd become the first Montreal teams to win both the Grey Cup, the Alouettes did it a week ago, and the Vanier Cup since 1980, when Edmonton Elks, or Eskimos as they were known, and the Alberta Golden Bears did the double in 1980. Still lots of football to be played. Terrell Cummings is back in the game at boundary corner. First down at their own 35. Great play action by Jonathan Senecal, but great coverage, and Jason Soriano with his speed will have a tackle for a loss. It's a loss of 2 on the play.
It was actually a beautiful read option by Jonathan Senecal. He's able to hand the ball off, read the D-line, sees the opportunity, and he pulls it. But Justin Soriano is right there. Look, he pulls it, takes away, and Justin Soriano is right there, closes in, and the track star for UBC is able to make the play on Jonathan Senecal.
The 2-way defensive back who moved into the secondary in week 5 from his receiving position with a big defensive play. Make it 2nd and 12. Montreal. 4-man rush from UBC. Senecal throwing the ball deep downfield, and it's incomplete. Dudley Jones, the intended receiver, gets his number called in double coverage. And so the Carabins will have to punt with 4:10 to go.
Dudley Jones came in for Hussein Dosso after Hussein Dosso's injury, and he does essentially what Hussein Dosso normally do: deep threat, down the field, fly ball, contested. Can you come down with the catch? No, he can't. Caden Cook is right there. Max Kennedy is right there, and he has a touch on the ball. He could have come down with that, was in the breadbasket, but gets through his hands, and now UBC gets a second chance at this.
Forced a punt on 3rd and 12. Philippe Boyer with a 44-yard average in the playoffs, trying to flip the field here. UBC hungry to get the ball back after that promising drive ended in a field goal. High spiraling punt to Redner Brookman at his own 31-yard line. Dodging the first pursuit down the sideline. Redner Brookman finally driven out of bounds by Maxime Francon.
Cesar Redmond Brookman, just like Justin Soriano, another one of those athletes that transitioned over from defense to offense, making a big play there on special teams.
BC on offense when we come back. Back in Kingston, Jonathan Senecal getting some attention on the Montreal bench to his left hand. 3:48 to go in regulation, and UBC with the football in great field position at their 48-yard line. But Senecal with some difficulty with that left wrist as he is taped by the Montreal training staff. The Vanier Cup awaits the champion here today. UBC had to come from behind in the 4th quarter in the Hardy Cup semifinal against Manitoba. They had to do it in the final 52 seconds of the Hardy Cup against Alberta. Do they have another comeback up their sleeve? As Isaiah Knight drives up the gut for a gain of 5. And Dayon with a late shot on Redner Brookman.
Clock management. You have the ball, there's 3 minutes left, you don't need to rush down the field, and you also don't want to give, if you do score, you don't want to give Montreal enough time to drive down the field and score as well. So they're managing the clock, staying with the ball on the ground, and trying to just establish that run to help set up the pass, which they've done, especially last week in the pass against St. FX.
Defensive coordinator Denny Touchette looks on a 2nd and 5 situation. His defense comes with pressure. Rooker has time, fires it downfield, it's complete! Sam Davenport makes the catch and is drilled on the play by Louis-Philippe Gauthier. A 38-yard line now on a 19-yard catch from Davenport. He wins those contested balls. That's a big catch. 3-minute warning here in Kingston. Sam Davenport with a 19-yard catch to move the Sticks. Look at his numbers, 4 catches for 62 yards after a quiet start to this football game.
And if you look on this replay, Garrett Rooker does a great job of just staying calm in the pocket. He's eyeing down Sam Davenport the entire time and finds him over the crosser route. And that arguably might be the biggest catch of the game so far.
Montreal defense has not allowed a touchdown against in 3 playoff games. Going back to the RSEQ playoffs, through the UTEC Bowl. But that's what UBC needs to score here to tie the football game. 2:44 on the clock. Davenport, the SFU transfer, coming to the fore. Look at the turnover ratio here. I mean, 22 interceptions that Montreal has generated through 11 games.
I think, again, to have more turnovers forced than points allowed is crazy. Haven't seen that before. The level of dominance they have displayed through this playoffs has been unseen, unheard of.
Here we go. First down UBC at the Montreal 38. Garrett Rooker rolling to the right side, fires to the sideline. It's complete for a gain of 5 as Edrin Williams-Hernandez makes his first reception of the football game. The 4th-year man out of Hamilton St. Thomas More High School.
And you alluded earlier to UBC's comeback in the Hardy Cup against Alberta, and Edrin Williams-Hernandez was a huge part of that. Haven't seen him much throughout the game. He's been dealing with an ankle injury, and Rooker now, second half, 147 passing yards compared to his 98 in the first half.
2nd and 4, UBC. 2:24 on the clock. 5-man rush from Montreal. The ball is away. It's incomplete. Sam Davenport, the intended receiver, broken up by Louis-Philippe Gauthier, the 2nd-year man out of Montreal.
And Sam Davenport has beaten Louis-Philippe Gauthier a couple times today in that zone coverage, but this time Louis-Philippe Gauthier is dropped back in man and just has to close in on Sam Davenport to break up that play. A little bit of extracurricular on that play, but he did his job in breaking up that pass.
It comes down to this, another 3rd down gamble for UBC. 3rd and 5. They're at the 33 of the Carabin. 3 receivers to the wide side. 1 to the right. Garrett Rooker faces a 3-man rush. They drop 9. Rooker downfield. Incomplete. Oh! Edrin Williams-Hernandez takes a hellacious hit. Can't hold on to the football as Nicholas Waugh comes in to break it up.
That is an amazing defensive stand for this Montreal secondary. At the top of the screen, Sam Davenport was locked up by Kaylin St-Cyr in man coverage. Sam Davenport was not an option in this play. You see Garrett Rooker gave him a pre-snap look, sees edge over the middle, gives him a look, but again, that Bermuda triangle with Waugh right there in the middle is able to break up that pass. Wow. Gave him a look, and he almost had it.
So the Carabin take over. 3rd turnover of the game by UBC. Handoff on the ground. As a flag flies, Glody Halafu bounces outside for a short gain. So let's check this flag. The indication is it's a holding call against Montreal. Yes, it is.
If you're Montreal, you're 2 minutes and 10 seconds away from a Vanier Cup, your first since 2014.
Remember when they lost to UBC back in 2015, they lost on the final play of the game.
That game-winning field goal.
So tensions rise. Montreal faithful all on their feet here at Richardson Stadium in Kingston.
At this point, it's all about clock management.
Move the ball back 10. First and 20. Montreal. Hand off to Magunda. Little flip pass. He cuts upfield. And he'll be downed at the 29-yard line for a gain of 6 yards on the play. Make it 2nd and 14.
Solid run by Muganda. Gives them a little bit more yardage off the penalty. Gives them a little bit more cushion and more room to work with on that 2nd down. They need that 1st down. If you want to put this game away, you need that 1st down. You want to keep the ball in your hands.
This Montreal O-line has heard all about UBC's offensive line all week long, and the NFL attention. Now their chance to maintain possession of this football with 1:50 and counting on 2nd and 14. Flip pass to Shabbat underneath, breaks a tackle. Upfield, hard to bring down, but he'll be short by 2 yards as Jackson Sorrello-Brown hangs on for dear life.
And it's the exact same play that they went to earlier with Muganda, but now they just switch the player. Carl Shabbat up the middle, and Shabbat's able to break tackles. And look, Jackson Sorrello-Brown, like you said, hanged on for dear life to try and stop Shabbat from getting that 1st down.
So the punt team comes on the field for Montreal, and Blake Nill has taken a timeout. That's his last timeout of the football game. 1:39 on the clock. And it comes down to this. One last chance for UBC to try to tie this football game. Down by 7. Mason Nias, the Head Crichton candidate 1 year ago for Saskatchewan. He led them to 2 Vanier Cups in a row. He's now teaching in Vancouver and a quarterback coach for the Thunderbirds, and has been a picture of reassurance and calm for Garrett Rooker, who extraordinarily has come to Canada to play his football after being a 6A First Division high school player, an all-district quarterback, an all-district punter, an all-district point guard in basketball. But he came for the education to UBC, and can he lead this team back here with 1:39 to go?
Mark, they brought in Mason Nias for moments like this.
So Philippe Boyer will stand at his 26-yard line. Redner, Brookman, and McBean are back for UBC. Boyer. Side-winding punt will come to the 27-yard line. McBean has the ball, and he's tackled immediately. A return of about 5 on the play. So UBC goes on offense, 1st and 10 from their own 35-yard line. Rooker has passed for 245 yards, good on 24 of 36 so far in this game. He has 1 minute and 30 seconds to lead his team back.
Mark, you talk about Mason Nias. Only 2 years ago, Mason Nias was down against Montreal in the UTEC Bowl with less than 2 minutes left, needing a touchdown to win the game. And now Garrett Rooker's in that same position now, trying to tie the game.
Remember, he drove his team 95 yards in 52 seconds to win the Hardy Cup against Alberta. Rooker throws to the sideline. It's complete to Owen. A short game to Gavin Owen, the Scarborough native, in his 2nd season.
First look at Gavin Owen today. At this point, the UBC Thunderbirds are trying to march their way down the field. There's no need to rush. You got to move the ball. That's the more important thing right now, moving the ball.
So he stayed in bounds, so the ball will start on the whistle, 2nd and 4. UBC at their own 41-yard line. Rooker under pressure, escapes the rush, looking for a receiver, and it's incomplete. Shamar McBean was open, but the ball was thrown too far out of bounds.
And at this point, Montreal is sensing that, hey, If UBC wants to get down the field, they're going to need to throw the ball. Let's just rush 3. Let's just rush 3, 4. Let our linebackers drop back into coverage. Let's see if we can latch onto these receivers and stop that passing attack. Harold Messian does a good job taking away Lucas Robertson. And you look right there, Shamar McBean finds an opening on the sideline, but is not able to come down with it.
3rd and 4, UBC. 1:08 to go in regulation. Rooker rolling to the right, to the wide side. Downfield, incomplete, and they turn it over on downs again. 1:02 to go, and the Carabins sensing victory. Legault can barely walk, but he's come off the bench to join the sideline celebrations.
Masterclass defense on that last play. They send the pressure. You see Farinaccio is debating, should I blitz or should I drop back into contain? He says, no, let me blitz. Drops back. And again, Kélian Saint-Cyr is there on Shamar McBean and would have broken that play up anyways. They're able to shut down UBC, force another turnover on downs, their 4th turnover of the game.
3 on downs, 1 on a fumble. 1st and 10 from the UBC 41-yard line for the Carabins of Montreal. Senecal will hand off. They'll stay on the ground. And Glody Halafu has a gain of 3 yards on the play. Make it 2nd and 7.
You're Montreal. You're 57 seconds away from a national championship. Run the ball. Control the clock. You want that clock to get down to 0 as quick as possible, and UBC has no more timeouts left.
Defense not leaving anything to chance as they rally on the sideline. Marco Iadaluca looking for his 3rd Vanier Cup crown, his 1st as a head coach. So they'll run the clock down to 37 seconds. Montreal calls a timeout. Senecal to the sidelines.
What a day that Montreal defense has had. Being able to limit this UBC offense to only 9 points after they averaged over 30 points a game this season. What a way to close out your season. Limit one of the top offenses in the nation to less than 10 points. Again, have not given up a touchdown throughout these entire playoffs.
That's the story of this Montreal football team. A smothering defense that in the last 4 playoff games has not given up a single touchdown. This UBC offense, which has averaged 34 points a game, put up 31 touchdowns this season, and they can't buy one here in the Vanier Cup. So 37 seconds on the clock, 2nd and 7. Montreal. Senecal hands it up the gut for a gain of 1 by Halafu. Be 3rd and 6. And they'll be able to run the clock down to 12 seconds on this next play. But draining the time and life out of the Thunderbirds, protecting their lead of 7 points.
And you know UBC, they play to the final whistle. Their last comeback win in the Hardy Cup, like you said it, Mark, came with 50 seconds left, 95 yards. So they're going to play to the final whistle. But it seems like we're very close to awarding the Vanier Cup here today.
So Montreal watches the game clock. They'll let it tick to 1 second and call their final timeout. So Montreal calls a timeout. And this is excruciating for Blake Nill. His 10th appearance in the Vanier Cup. Won it his first year 8 years ago at UBC. And back for the first time as the UBC head coach since then. But his team unable to finish here today. That'll be the story he will have to live with. This old school coach who is a master motivator.
And Blake Nill, again, he's a legend in this game. We talk about, you know, winning a Vanier Cup with St. FX in '96. You know, winning it in the 2000s with SMU in 2002, winning one in 2015 with UBC, and now this could have been his 4th Vanier Cup in a 4th different decade.
So the punting unit is on the field on 3rd and 8 for Montreal. McBean and Redner-Brookman stand in their end zone to return. The time not on the Thunderbird side. Philippe Boyer angles it to the near sideline. They won't get there at the 5-yard line. It's Redner-Brookman, and there's 4 seconds left on the game clock, 3.8 exactly. And desperation time, one last play for UBC. There's an injured Montreal player on the field. But the agony of waiting for this conclusion on the UB sideline is on full display for head coach Blake Mill. Looks like Goudreau is the injured Carabin. Senecal on the sideline, what a year for him, leading his conference in every passing stat, leading his team in passing and rushing, a one-man band, and winning the Heck Crichton Trophy for the first time in Montreal Carabin history.
And then having amazing performance today in the Vanier Cup, scoring a touchdown in the first half, and being able to just lead this Montreal offense against such a talented UBC defense, Mark. We talk about how talented this defense is and how many athletes they have. And for Senecal to come into this game and be able to dissect them the way that he did, it's truly one of his better performances of his career in his already established and accomplished career.
Well, just getting out of the RSEQ and beating Laval convincingly the way they did it this year 3 times. They emerged to dispatch the previous 2 Vanier Cup champions in Laval in the Dunsmore Cup, and then the Western Mustangs in the UTEC Bowl en route to this game. The Senecal.
And Mark, we talk about the 3-year journey this program has been on. Losing in 2021 in the UTEC Bowl to Saskatchewan on Adam Mackhart, last second touchdown. Losing last year in the Dunsmore Cup on a rouge, and now coming back to finish.
UBC is 92 yards away from the end zone with 4 seconds to go. There are 4 Carabins up near the line of scrimmage, and the other 8 are way back down the field on this last play desperation for UBC. A lateral to Soriano. Soriano nowhere to go, trying to lateral. He'll head down the sideline. Jason Soriano breaks a tackle, cuts back upfield, and finally dropped at the 48-yard line. The Montreal Carabins, after years of heartbreak, have climbed the mountain and have become Vanier Cup champions in 2023. The first as a head coach for Marco Iadeluca and his 3rd overall.
And for the Carabins, it's their first championship in 9 years. After they beat McMaster in Quebec City, it took them 9 years to get back to the top. So much heartbreaks along the way. You talk about 2015 against UBC, losing on the last play of the game. You talk about 2019 against Calgary, dropping that one in Quebec City as well. And then you talk about, of course, 2021 and 2022, the heartbreak. How hard it was for this program to get back to the top, get out of the RSEQ multiple times, and now this roller coaster of emotions. It seems like almost 9 years of struggle put aside here at Richardson Stadium.
After back-to-back defeats to Canada West football teams, they prevail on their 3rd try here today. 8 years after losing on the last play of the game to UBC, they shut down their vaunted offense and don't allow a single touchdown in a 7-point victory, and jubilation on the field here in Kingston. Let's go to the sidelines, and here's Signa.
Thanks so much, Mark, Deshaun. Kaylin St. Cyr, your defense today, and I know you said you guys would run through walls for each other, and you certainly did that. How are you feeling right now?
Undescribable. You know, we gave it all on the three side of the ball. You know, we said it. We have a great defense, great offense, special team. I think everyone showed up today. You know, we faced adversity, and at the end, we always believe. It's been a year that we've been training for this, and we always believe.
And the heartbreak of 2 years ago, is it erased now?
It feels good to get our revenge, you know, it feels good, but I have to give a shout out to UBC, you know, it was a great game, they played their heart out, but hey, Montreal's on top now, Montreal's on top now, woo! Yes, sir. Hey, I want to give a shout out to our crowd, our fans, everyone back home, you know, everyone believed in us, and they're behind us, you know, no matter what, and we can see in the stand, you know, everyone's there for us, and I'm just grateful and thankful, you know, thank you so much.
2 big football championships for Montreal. Go celebrate, Kaylin. Thank you.
Here wearing his emotions on his sleeve. Let's talk about the heartbreak. They lost the Vanier Cup in 2019 to Calgary. In 2021, after the lost COVID year, they lost to Saskatchewan in the UTEC Bowl in the final minute of the game at home as Mason Nias drove the Huskies. And then last year, they lose the Dunsmore to Laval on the last play of the game. But all of those setbacks, all of that heartbreak has galvanized this football team. And all their stars, 13 conference all-stars, 10 all-Canadians, the Vanier Cup champions in 2023.
Mark, this will go down as probably the greatest Montreal Carabins team in program history. You said it yourself. 13 conference all-stars, a program record. 10 all-Canadians, a program record. You have Harold Messiaen, the President's Trophy winner, and you have Jonathan Senecal, the Heck Crichton Trophy Award winner, and now you have a Vanier Cup champion. This is probably the most accomplished team, not only in Carabins history, but we're going to look at this as one of the most accomplished teams in U Sports football history when it stands the test of time.
And it was Senecal's 7-yard scramble in the second half for that touchdown that proved to be the margin of victory here today. What can you say about this quarterback who led his conference in passing and led his team in rushing, was number 4 among running backs? He did it all. They relied on him, and he took them to the promised land here today.
Jonathan Senecal is special. Again, Heck Crichton Award winner for a reason, and he's only in his 3rd year of eligibility, and it's going to be in the next couple of years we might see him get a chance at the pros, but for now, what he's doing in U Sports football, especially being a part of a class of 3rd-year quarterbacks, that's so special. You look at Garrett Rooker, you look at all the quarterbacks across the country, Taylor Elgersma, Evan Hillock. Jonathan Senecal is among the best right now, and he might be at the top of that entire class right now. So the season he had, again, one of the greatest players in program history, the greatest quarterback in program history, just had the greatest season of his career, and it ends in a national championship.
I'm just doing the math here, but in 4 playoff games, the Montreal defense had 21 turnovers, and they allowed 21 points in 4 games. No touchdowns against.
Mark, we're going to look back and we're going to say this is one of the greatest defenses we've ever seen. We've never seen a defensive dominance on a playoff run like this. No touchdowns allowed in the playoffs. You shut out Sherbrooke in the RCQ semifinal. Understandable. And then you limit Laval and the Dunsmore Cup to only 6 points. The Vanier Cup champion from last year. And then you limit Western to only 3 points. And then you limit the UBC Thunderbirds to only 9 points. 0 touchdowns allowed on this playoff run. One of the best defensive performances we've ever seen from a national champion.
No question, a performance for the ages as the Carabins defeat the Thunderbirds 16-9 in a defensive battle in Kingston. Andy?
Great stuff, Mark Lee, Deshaun Stevens. There's a look at Marco Yadaluka, head coach of Montreal Carabins. He knows he is a Vanier Cup champion, and history does not repeat itself. The last time these two teams met, 2015, UBC Thunderbirds walked away with the 26-23 victory. This one, they don't get a touchdown. Montreal, your Vanier Cup winners, as we welcome you back inside our CBC Sports studio. Andy Petrillo, Justin Dunk, and Donovan Bennett. It's a team sport. We know this, but we have to give love to Jonathan Senecal. I don't know how we have a conversation about the Carabins without talking about the quarterback.
You have to. And he played almost a flawless game. How many mistakes did he make? A couple. Well, one, he admitted to Signa Butler that he can't cook. Don't tell on yourself, Jonathan, on national TV. Two, he had the INT. And three, he didn't take the cardboard out of the celebration hat.
No,
but
I know.
everything else was flawless. And the big players make the biggest plays on the biggest days. That's what he did today. You need him to run it, leading rusher. You need him to throw on the run, can do that as well. Every time it seemed like UBC was creeping back into the game, he put on the Superman cape and said, all right, I'll do it myself. Breakdowns in front of me, I'll tuck it and I'll run and I'll extend drives. This was a big one to keep a drive alive. There was some debate on whether or not he should have won the Heck Crichton over Taylor Elgersma. There was no debate today. He was the best player on the field. That's why the Carabins won.
Yet again in the playoffs, this guy, we know he's a great passer, but what he does with his feet is simply special. He's led his team in rushing in every single postseason game. That's when teams are supposed to be at their best. Donovan, I really like this guy's track that he's on, the arc. I talked to Danny Machocha in the winning locker room of the Alouettes at the Grey Cup, and he said it wouldn't surprise him if Senecal is one day in the CFL. I think he has that kind of ability, and wouldn't it be fitting if one day he's a French-Canadian quarterback leading the Montreal Alouettes? This guy is that good, and I think it's actually possible.
You know what's scary? He's got 2 years left of eligibility.
I remember being on this set a year ago. We talked about Arnaud Desjardins maybe having multiple rings. I feel like Senecal is going to be in the mix, but those two guys seem to be going back and forth.
Yeah, it's our Manning Brady maybe for the next couple of years.
Yes, sir.
Well, he also joined some pretty elite company because we were trying to figure out, all right, who has won a Heck Crichton and the Vanier Cup in the same year? And as you can see, it's a pretty small list. And in fact, there was a big gap there between 2008, 2022. So now we have back-to-back. Jonathan Senecal joining this elite group of winning Heck Crichton and the Vanier Cup. I wonder if he'll also get MVP.
Well, if we're voting, there's no doubt. It's unanimous. He should join Kevin Mattel, who has the asterisk at the bottom because he was the MVP, the Ted Morris, last year. Quebec, clearly, when you get there and you get the Heck, you win the game. But also, let's remember, there's a lot of pressure in this weekend. The banquet earlier in the week, everyone sees you win. The other team is upset and riled up, and that's a talking point throughout the week. Heck winners are only 5-12 when they get to the game. I think it's going to be 6 now.
Senecal didn't feel that pressure. That's really what stood out to me in this game. Even though he had that early interception and it looked a little shaky, he steadies his team. And at some point, you got to give the MVP to one guy. And I think that's why Senecal deserves it.
Well, first, let's hand out the Vanier Cup. How about that as we send it to the Queen's University inside Richardson Stadium? Let's hand out the Vanier Cup to the winners, the Montreal Carabins.
I'm Signa Butler from CBC, and I'm here with my colleague from TVA Sport, Justin Saint-Martin, and we are your MCs for the 2023 Canada Life Vanier Cup post-game ceremonies.
Bon après-midi tout le monde, je m'appelle Justine Saint-Martin de TVA Sport et je suis accompagnée de Signa de la CBC pour les cérémonies de l'après-match de cette 58e Coupe Vanier Canada Vie.
To present the Bruce Coulter Award to the Defensive Player of the Game, please welcome Ann Tierney, Vice Parole and Dean of Student Affairs here at Queen's University.
Veuillez accueillir Anne Tierney, vice-prévôt et doyenne des affaires aux étudiants de l'Université Queen, pour faire la remise du prix Bruce Coulter décerné aux joueurs du match défensif de cette Coupe Vanier Canada Vie. Donc le prix Bruce Coulter est remis au numéro 5 des Carabins, Nicky Farinaccio. Nicky, tu es champion de la Coupe Vanier. Quel sentiment t'avais présentement?
Il n'y a rien qui peut exprimer comment je me sens en ce moment. C'est un rêve d'enfance. J'ai fait Oh, On m'a posé une question il y a 3 ans, je pense, puis on m'a dit qu'est-ce que j'aurais préféré entre un bac et une coupe Vanier. Je pense qu'on sait qu'est-ce que je préfère. Hein? Je suis vraiment content. Il y a rien qui exprime comment je me sens en ce moment. Là. Je veux dire, on a tous mis our heart and soul on that field. So, merci beaucoup.
Il y a quelque chose de spécial dans ce groupe-là depuis le jour 1 du camp d'entraînement. Parle-moi de votre défensive. Aucun touché accordé dans les matchs éliminatoires. C'est exceptionnel.
Ouais, je sais pas quoi dire, man. On est des dogs. Il n'y avait personne de meilleur que nous au Canada, puis we proved it.
Félicitations.
Merci beaucoup.
Une question en anglais?
Oh, in English, in English.
One.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot has been said about your defensive unit being a family.
Yeah.
A lot of joy out there today.
Yeah.
I bet you as soon as you raise the bigger trophy, you're going to feel a lot of joy.
Yeah, that's for sure, that's for sure. I mean, we're one big family and nothing can take that away from us.
Denis Touché has been a leader of your defensive team. Got all the units working together. Can you say a word about your defensive coordinator?
Oh yeah, he's the greatest. He's the greatest. He's without a doubt one of the best defensive coaches I had in my life, and I'm really thankful to be by his side. You know.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Et maintenant, le prix Ted Morris, présenté aux joueurs par excellence du match Nike pour la Coupe Vanier Canada Vie.
The Ted Morris Award is presented to the Nike Player of the Game as MVP of the 2023 Canada Life Vanier Cup.
Le meilleur joueur au pays, numéro 12, Jonathan Sénécal. Jonathan, la semaine dernière, tu m'as dit on n'a pas terminé. Aujourd'hui, vous avez terminé le travail. Qu'est-ce que ça représente pour toi, tes champions de la Coupe Vanier?
Ouais, je shout-out à tout le monde qui sont ici, les 100 gars qui sont dans notre équipe. Bon travail. Shout-out! Tous les gars ils travaillent fort à chaque semaine avec nous. Ça fait 16 semaines, puis on l'a eu, man. Je suis content.
Je sais que les trophées individuels, c'est pas ça qui t'intéresse, c'est plutôt celui au centre, mais quand même, quelle saison exceptionnelle t'as connue. As-tu senti la progression qui t'a mené jusqu'à la saison que tu viens de vivre?
Quelle bonne question. Bonne question pour vrai. Genre, j'ai juste continué à travailler fort. On a travaillé fort tout le monde ensemble, puis on a le résultat qu'on veut aujourd'hui. Fait que je suis vraiment content, puis juste, c'est ça là.
Félicitations.
This one for you. This team has been through a lot of adversity. For 2 years in the playoffs, and you're here. You guys were on a mission. How are you feeling right now?
Yeah, I feel great. Honestly, we're a really resilient team, and we proved it today that we are the best team in the nation. So, let's go.
Congratulations, Jonathan.
Veuillez maintenant accueillir John Delorme, vice-président régional Solutions conseiller chez Canada Vie, et Lisette Johnston-Stapley, la chef de sport de chez U-Sport pour la remise de la Coupe Vanier et la bannière à l'équipe championne.
We'll lift it and you grab the banner.
Please welcome to the stage John Delorme, Regional Vice President of Advisor Solution Canada Life, and from U Sports, Lisette Johnson-Stapley, Chief Sport Officer, to present the Vanier Cup and U Sports Championship banner. We would like to invite the captains from the Montreal Carabins to come to the stage.
Les champions de la Coupe Vanier 2023, les Carabins de l'Université de Montréal.
celebrations continue inside Richardson Stadium on the grounds of Queen University in Kingston, Ontario. Montreal Carabins, they are the champions. That is just their second Vanier Cup win in the school's history. Their first coming in 2014. You can see the jubilation there. The last time they were in the Vanier Cup was 2015. That was a loss to UBC. And we always say offense gets the glory, but we know that defense wins the game. But gentlemen, in this case, the defense also gets the glory, because all season long, including in this final, Donovan, they have not allowed their opponents to score more than 16 points.
The numbers are wild. This defense has consistently been smothering, and it was that way throughout the game. Today, from the early onset to closing it out, they brought pressure with 4. They brought pressure with 8. They dropped 8 and got interceptions. They played man-to-man and broke up passes. No matter what the scenario called for, this defense was there. And they've just gone on a run, statistically, that we've never seen before. Deshaun mentioned it. Maybe this is the best defense that we've seen. Don't at me, but I'm saying it. This is the best championship defense we have seen in this generation. Dunk, the numbers don't lie.
They don't. I think Laval might want a word with that. Some of those defenses going back to the early 2000s.
Well, Laval got shut out by these defense. That's the word that they got.
That's fair. Well, they scored 6, but I know what you mean. I do think, though, that the team speed for Montreal and the physicality stand out, and the All-Canadians at every single level. And the one guy I don't think that gets talked about enough, he wore his dad's jersey to the game today, who used to play for the Als, Irvin Smith, is Kalian St. Cyr. This guy is the best defensive back in the country. He's going to play in the CFL. He's among the elite. They have so many great players on this team, but he doesn't get thrown at. So he doesn't get a chance to get his hand on the ball and get some of these turnovers that you've talked about so much, Don.
More turnovers than points allowed. That's what this defense just did in the playoffs against, for me, 3 of the best offenses in the country, in Laval, Western, and obviously UBC. You threw Laurier in the conversation. They took down the best offenses Canada has other than their own, and that's why they're champs.
What kind of connection are we also talking here about the Carabins, the Alouettes, and just seeing kind of that progression into the CFL?
It's a championship connection, and I think one that shows that Montreal is developing pro-caliber players, going back to when Danny Machocha was head coach of the Carabins. Now he's the general manager of the Alouettes, winning Grey Cups. But this program continues to produce elite players that go to the CFL and make game-changing plays. You want to talk about that? You look at what happened in the East Final in the CFL. Marc-Antoine Dequoy, pick 6, flips that game on its head. They knock out these 16-2 Argos, go on to win a title, and that's really what happened here with the Carabins and their defense.
Well, it's not just the players. You look at Noel Thorpe calling that defense for the Alouettes, came from this program. Byron Archambault, the special teams coordinator, came through this program. And the way they did it, exactly the same. Tell me if you heard this before. A Montreal team stopped an Ontario team that was a powerhouse in the semis, then took a team from out west that wore blue and gold and beat them down in a championship game. The script is the exact same, and it's from the same people. Quebec football is on a wave, and a big part of it is because of this Montreal program, both at the pro level and the grassroots level, and you want it to be a feeder system between the two. This is a great example of it, and we're seeing that in Quebec sports all over the place.
And it's the way they develop these guys in CEGEP. I think that's the real key here. There's where Senecal came from, Andre Grasset, and a number of these other guys. It's almost like pro football, but at the high school level, so to speak. That's how they treat football in that province, and it's the reason why the Alouettes won the Grey Cup, because there's a bunch of Carabins there, and why Montreal won the Vanier Cup.
This is special. It's the first time since 1980, and just the second time that the Grey Cup and Vanier Cup winner has come from the same province. So you mentioned the Montreal Alouettes. Now we have the Carabins. In 1980, you have to go back to the Alberta Golden Bears and the Edmonton Football Club. So pretty impressive what this Montreal team has been able to do. So congratulations to the Montreal Carabins. They have won the 58th edition of the Vanier Cup. Once again, an absolute pleasure bringing you the game right here on CBC Sports. On behalf of Justin Dunk, Donovan Bennett, Mark Lee, Deshaun Stevens, and Signa Butler, who was cold on the sidelines, and we were warm here in the studio. 16-9 is the final. Montreal's defense rising to the occasion. UBC just couldn't figure it out. Montreal, your national U Sports football champions. Thanks for tuning in, Canada. Let's do it again next year.